Zen Stories for Sleep Vertical Bar, The Silent Bell, Awakening Peace in Every Breath. Section 1. The Bell Awakens. A bell's sound ripples through the monastery, teaching stillness in motion. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine sitting in a quiet temple, a soft breeze carrying the scent of pine and incense as a bell rings in the distance. Each note dissolving into silence, like ripples fading on a calm lake. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit cross-legged on a cool wooden floor, the air thick with a quiet that feels almost alive. Outside, a single cicada sings into the night, its steady drone becoming a kind of lullaby. In the center of the room hangs a bronze bell polished smooth from centuries of use. The bell keeper, a monk with gentle eyes and robes the color of earth, enters the hall. He doesn't speak. He simply picks up the mallet and holds it against the bell's edge. For a moment there is no sound, only a pause that stretches until it feels like time has stopped breathing. Then, with a measured touch, he strikes the bell. Gunning! The sound blossoms into the air, warm and round, curling around you like smoke. It vibrates through the floorboards and into your body, settling in your chest like a second heartbeat. You notice how the sound doesn't end abruptly. It softens, fades, yet lingers in your awareness long after the bell itself has gone silent. A thought arises. Is it the sound I'm hearing, or the silence that comes after? The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." Could this single tone, carrying no words at all, bring more peace than any teaching? The monk places the mallet down and folds his hands. You see his lips barely move as he exhales. Later, someone tells you he whispered, "Listen to the bell, not with your ears, but with your whole being." Zen masters often speak in riddles like that. It makes you wonder, what does it mean to listen with your whole being? Is it about attention, surrender, or something deeper beyond ideas and effort? As you sit, the monk explains softly. In Zen practice, we use the sound of the bell to return. Each ring is like a doorway, reminding us of the space between thoughts. You think of your own day, your phone buzzing notifications, stacking up the hum of traffic outside your window. How many sounds pulled you away? And here, this simple sound is calling you back. You take a breath, feeling it move through you. The bell's echo still hums faintly in your memory, like the warmth of a fire long after the flames have gone out. In some monasteries, novice monks are asked to strike the bell every morning. It isn't just to call others to meditation, it's a meditation itself. They say, if your mind is distracted when you strike the bell, the sound will be restless too. But if your heart is still, the bell will sing. You wonder, if your life were a bell, what kind of sound would it make right now? Outside, the wind rustles the leaves of an old pine tree. You hear the soft creak of the wooden beams overhead, the settling of the temple around you. Each sound feels gentle, unhurried, as if the world is breathing in time with you. There's a Zen saying, when the bell is struck, the whole valley listens. You close your eyes. In the darkness behind your eyelids, you can almost feel the valley, misty quiet, cradling the sound as it carries on the breeze. You're not just hearing the bell anymore. You are the bell, and as the last shimmer of sound dissolves, you notice something curious. It isn't the sound that brings peace. It's the silence that follows, holding you like a soft blanket. Could it be that the silence was here all along, waiting for you to notice footsteps in the garden? A monk's quiet walk reveals lessons of mindfulness and impermanence. Section 2. The Empty Teacup. A parable on humility and receiving wisdom with an open heart. The air feels cooler now as you step outside, your bare feet touching the smooth stones of the garden path. The temple's lanterns flicker in the dusk, casting long, soft shadows across the moss-covered ground. Each step is deliberate, slow, almost like you're walking through water. You notice the sound of your own breath, gentle, steady, blending with the rustle of the bamboo leaves above. Somewhere nearby, a stream gurgles softly, its voice light and playful as it slips over polished rocks. This garden has been here for centuries, tended by generations of monks. It isn't large or extravagant, but every corner seems alive with quiet purpose. The pebbles are raked into careful swirls, the stepping stones laid with intention. Even the weeds are allowed their place, sprouting up like small green reminders of life's persistence. A young monk, not much older than a teenager, passes you on the path. His gaze is soft, yet his presence feels anchored, as if he is fully here in a way you aren't quite used to seeing. His sandals make a soft shuff-shuff sound with each step, and you realize he isn't in a hurry. You wonder, when was the last time I walked without rushing, without my mind racing ahead to the next thing? The Buddha taught that to live mindfully is to live fully. This doesn't just apply to sitting cross-legged in meditation. Even walking, something you've done every day of your life, can become a doorway to awareness. The young monk pauses by a small stone lantern and kneels to brush a fallen leaf from its surface. He isn't doing this for show. He's simply taking care of what's in front of him. Somewhere deep inside, you sense a longing not for anything grand, but for this kind of presence. To live like every moment matters, because it does. You take another step this time, feeling the cool stone against your foot, noticing how your toes curl slightly with the weight of your body. The garden seems to respond, not with words, but with a deep, abiding stillness. There's a Zen story about a master who told his students, when walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. At first, it sounds almost too simple. But maybe that's the point. How often do you walk while scrolling on your phone? Eat while your thoughts are somewhere else entirely. You pause by a pond where koi glide lazily under the surface. The water reflects the deepening sky blue, melting into violet streaked with the faint blush of sunset. Watch the fish, a voice says gently. You turn. It's the same monk from earlier now, standing a few feet away. They do not hurry yet. They arrive where they are meant to be. You nod, unsure if he's speaking metaphorically or not. But the words sink in. Maybe there's a lesson here, not in chasing after life, but in letting it unfold like the ripples on this pond. The monk smiles faintly, then begins walking again, his hands folded neatly behind his back. You watch his movements, each step deliberate yet natural, as if he's merging with the rhythm of the earth itself. Some monks practice kinhin, a walking meditation, where each step is in sync with their breath. One foot rises slowly, the heel lifts, the toes leave the ground, and the foot lowers again. Each motion performed with full awareness. You decide to try. Inhale, lift. Exhale, place. The first few steps feel strange, almost exaggerated. Your mind wants to wander. Am I doing this right? What if someone sees me? But then after a few more breaths, something shifts. You begin to notice tiny details, the cool night air against your skin, the scent of damp earth, the faint chirp of crickets awakening for the evening. There's a lightness in your chest now, as if a tight knot has loosened. You realize you're smiling. Walking like this, the monk had said earlier, is not about getting anywhere. It's about arriving where you already are. The path curves gently, leading you under an archway of flowering vines. Petals drift down, brushing your shoulders, landing softly at your feet. You don't rush to brush them off. Instead, you simply stand breathing, watching the petals settle on the stones like tiny silent gifts. A question arises in your mind, almost unbidden. If I could carry this presence into the rest of my life, what would change? Would you speak more slowly? Would you listen more deeply? Maybe the world wouldn't change overnight, but perhaps you would. You step forward again, the sound of your footfall blending with the soft music of the night. Somewhere far off, a bell chimes faintly, its tone so gentle, you wonder if it's real or imagined. Either way, you let the sound wash over you. Here in this garden, nothing needs fixing, nothing needs rushing. For this moment, simply being is enough. And as you walk, the thought comes to you. Not like a shout, but like a whisper in the dark. This is it. This is life. Section 3. You step inside a small wooden tea house tucked in the corner of the garden. The door slides shut behind you with a soft click, and the air inside feels warmer, scented faintly of roasted barley and cedar. A monk kneels behind a low table, arranging a tray with teacups, so delicate they look almost translucent in the flickering candlelight. His movements are slow, unhurried, like a leaf floating downstream. He gestures for you to sit. As you fold your legs beneath you, you notice the quiet here feels different than in the garden. It's thicker somehow, like a comforting blanket wrapped around your shoulders. The monk places one teacup before you and another before himself. He doesn't pour yet. Instead, he smiles gently and asks, "Is your cup full or empty?" You glance at the cup. It's obviously empty, but you sense he isn't asking about the porcelain. Before you can answer, he begins to pour steaming tea into your cup. He doesn't stop when it's full. The tea overflows, running down the sides and pooling on the tray. "Master, the cup is full, it can hold no more," you exclaim. He places the teapot down and meets your eyes. Just like this cup, your mind is already full with opinions, belief stories about how things are. If you wish to taste fresh tea, you must first empty your cup. The words land softly, yet they stir something deep in you. How much of your day has been spent clutching at thoughts, defending ideas, replaying old arguments in your head? The Buddha often spoke of beginner's mind, a mind that is open, curious, free from the weight of knowing. He taught that clinging to fixed ideas is like trying to grasp water with a clenched fist. You look at the steaming tea and imagine what it would mean to let go, not of everything, but just enough to make space for something new. The monk lifts his own cup but doesn't drink. "In Zen, we empty the cup again and again," he says softly. "Each time we think we know, we pour it out. Only then can life pour itself in." You watch as the candle's flame dances, casting gentle shadows on the wall. Its light flickers on the surface of the tea, which trembles ever so slightly in the cup. Could it be that you've been holding your life too tightly, too afraid to spill a drop? There's a Zen story about a scholar who came to a master seeking wisdom. He boasted of all the sutras he'd memorized, the debates he'd won, the commentaries he'd written. The master poured him tea just as this monk did for you and kept pouring until the scholar cried out in frustration. "See," the master said, "you are like this cup, so full of your own knowledge. There is no room for truth to enter." You take a slow breath, letting the warm steam curl into your nose and lungs. For the first time in a long while, you realize how much you've been carrying the noise of your to-do lists, the heaviness of old regrets, the endless search for answers. What would it feel like to set it all down, even for a moment? The monk finally raises his cup and sips. The sound is almost imperceptible, but the act itself feels profound. You follow his lead, lifting the cup to your lips. The tea is simple, earthy, slightly bitter, with a subtle sweetness that lingers on your tongue. And yet in this moment, it feels like the most exquisite drink you've ever tasted. "Good tea," the monk says quietly, but only because the cup was empty. You let the words settle like tea leaves drifting to the bottom of the cup. Could you empty your cup, not just here, but in your life? Could you meet each person, each moment, as if for the first time? Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you let go of being right? If you stopped clinging to your identity, your stories, even for a breath, the candle sputters softly, its flame shrinking, then growing again. You watch it flicker and realize that, like the tea, it exists only because of emptiness, the space in the cup, the air around the flame. Emptiness isn't absence. It's possibility. You set your cup down and feel a quiet gratitude for this simple lesson. In a world that praises fullness, full schedules, full inboxes, full minds, there is a rare and gentle power in being empty. As the monk begins clearing the cups, you hear the bell outside again, its soft tone rolling across the night air. And in that sound, you sense a whisper, not of words, but of space inviting you to let go and simply be. Section 4. The Old Pine Tree. Nature whispers about patience and the art of deep listening. You step back into the garden, the cool night air brushing against your cheeks like a soft caress. The faint scent of pine lingers in the breeze, earthy and calming. Overhead, the moon is a pale lantern, casting its light through the swaying branches of an ancient pine tree standing at the garden's edge. The tree is massive, its trunk gnarled and twisted by centuries of wind and rain. Its bark is cracked and rough, yet it radiates a quiet strength, as if every knot and scar is a testament to its endurance. You approach slowly, drawn to its presence. The air seems denser here, charged with a stillness that makes even your breath feel louder. A soft voice interrupts the silence. "This pine has stood here for over 400 years, says the monk now standing beside you. It has seen storms that ripped away weaker trees. It has endured drought snow and countless summers. Yet here it is, still reaching for the sky. You look up, following the tree's long limbs as they stretch outward and upward, their needles catching the moonlight like tiny stars. The monk rests his hand on the trunk. When the wind blows, it doesn't resist. It bends, sways, even lets go of what no longer serves it. That is how it survives. You run your fingers across the bark, feeling its deep grooves. Each ridge seems to hold a story. The Buddha once said, "Like a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, so the wise are not moved by praise or blame." But the pine tree isn't rigid like a rock. It's supple, graceful in its strength. It knows how to yield without breaking, how to endure without hardening. A Zen master might ask you, can you be like the pine tree? Can you remain rooted yet flexible, strong yet soft? You think of the challenges in your own life, the words that cut deep, the plans that didn't unfold as you'd hoped, the fears that still whisper in quiet moments. How often have you tried to stand firm, resisting every gust, only to feel yourself cracking inside? Perhaps there is another way. The monk begins to walk slowly around the tree, motioning for you to follow. In Japan, old pines are often supported by wooden braces. Gardeners know they need help to carry their heavy limbs. You notice a simple post propping up one of the branches, keeping it from breaking under its own weight. Even the strongest trees accept support, the monk says softly. Why not you? The words settle into you like seeds. You've always thought of resilience as standing alone. But maybe true resilience also means allowing others to hold you when needed. You sit on a mossy stone bench beneath the pine. The ground is cool, damp, alive. Above you, the needles whisper as a breeze stirs the air. You close your eyes and listen. There is no urgency here. No list to complete. Just the sound of the wind weaving through the branches, the creak of the pine as it sways gently, and your own breath rising and falling. In Zen practice, there is a meditation called shikantaza, or just sitting. No mantras, no visualizations, simply sitting in stillness, allowing everything to be as it is. You wonder what it would feel like to live that way, not striving to control each moment, but allowing life to flow like wind through pine needles. The monk sits beside you now, silent. Together you watch as a single needle detaches from a high branch and drifts lazily down, spinning in the air, before landing softly at your feet. See how it lets go, the monk murmurs. When its time is over, it doesn't cling. It returns to the earth, and in that letting go, it nourishes new life. You think of the things you've clung to, grudges, regrets, the idea of who you think you're supposed to be. Could you release them like the pine releases its needles? You feel the tightness in your chest begin to ease, as if some unseen knot has loosened. Above you, the branches sway again, whispering secrets you can almost hear. Be patient, stay rooted, bend when you must, let go when it's time. The monk rises and bows to the tree before turning to leave. You stay a little longer, listening to the whispers, feeling the ancient stillness seep into your bones. As you stand to go, you press your palm gently against the tree's trunk. The bark is rough but warm beneath your touch. Thank you, you whisper, not sure if you're speaking to the tree, the monk, or yourself. The wind stirs one last time, and the pine creaks softly in reply. Section 5. The candles flicker. How embracing fragility can guide you into inner calm. The corridor back to your room is dimly lit, the faint glow of candles lining the wooden walls. The air smells faintly of wax and sandalwood, warm and comforting. As you slide the door open, the room greets you with stillness, like a small sanctuary carved out of time. A single candle flickers on a low wooden table. Its light quivers with each subtle draft, casting dancing shadows along the floor and walls. You sit cross-legged on the mat, eyes fixed on the slender flame, swaying like a dancer caught between worlds. The monk's voice comes back to you. The mind is like a candle in the wind. Unshielded, its flame flickers wildly. But with care, the light steadies. You take a slow breath and watch as the flame steadies, then trembles again, as if mirroring your own mind. Sometimes calm, sometimes restless. In Buddhism, there's a teaching that life itself is fragile like the candle's flame. The body ages, health wanes, thoughts drift like smoke curling toward the ceiling. Nothing lasts forever. At first, this might seem unsettling. But as you sit, a new thought forms. What if fragility isn't something to fear? What if it's part of life's quiet beauty? The candle's glow softens the edges of the room, turning each surface golden. You notice how its tiny flame transforms the space, how even in its smallness it brings warmth and light. There's an old Zen story about a monk who was asked, "What is the most precious thing in the world?" He held up a single candle and replied, "This moment, because it burns away so quickly." You breathe in deeply, feeling the air warm slightly as it passes near the candle. Then you exhale slowly, as though not to disturb the fragile light. In Japanese temples, there's a ritual called okuribi, lighting fires to guide the spirits of ancestors home. The flames are allowed to burn out naturally, a reminder that all things, even sorrow and joy, eventually fade. You think of the times in your life you've tried to hold on to moments, to people, to the person you thought you had to be. Like cupping your hands around a flame, afraid it would go out. But the candle doesn't cling to its wax. It burns without fear, knowing its light matters, even if it lasts only a little while. Could you do the same? A quiet voice inside you asks. Could you live fully, even knowing every flame eventually dims? Your eyes soften as you watch a tiny drop of wax slide down the candle's side, solidifying as it cools. Even in its melting, the candle gives something back. Perhaps fragility isn't a flaw. Perhaps it's the very thing that makes each moment precious. The monk's words drift back. It isn't how long the candle burns, it's how brightly. You shift slightly, feeling the warmth from the flame reach your face. Outside, the sound of wind rises and falls like the slow exhale of the earth itself. A thought arises. What would happen if I stopped resisting life's impermanence? If I embraced each flicker, knowing it won't last? Zen masters might say this is freedom, not clinging to what was, not grasping for what will be, but resting gently in what is. The flame dances one more time before settling again, steady and calm. You close your eyes and, in the darkness, you can still feel its warmth as though the light has left a memory on your skin. Fragile, yes, but still here, still glowing. When you open your eyes again, the room feels softer somehow, as if the candle's glow has seeped into the very walls. You place your hands together and whisper, "Thank you." For a brief moment, it feels as if the flame bows back. Section 6. Facing the wall. A quirky Zen practice of sitting in stillness to observe the self. The morning is quiet, almost too quiet. The faint light of dawn seeps through the paper screen, washing the room in a pale silver glow. You follow the monk down a narrow hallway, his soft footfalls barely audible against the worn wooden floor. At the end of the hall, he slides open a door to reveal a long meditation hall. The air is cool, still heavy with the night's hush. Along one wall, monks sit cross-legged on cushions, their faces turned toward a blank expanse of plaster. At first you hesitate. The wall feels intimidating somehow. Plain, featureless. It's as if all the noise and color of life have been stripped away, leaving nothing but stillness. The monk gestures to an empty cushion. "Sit," he says simply. You lower yourself onto the mat, folding your legs beneath you. The wall looms in front of you, a pale canvas without stories, without distractions. "This is Zazen," the monk whispers, kneeling briefly at your side. "And here we practice wall gazing, facing the self, without turning away." You inhale deeply, trying to settle. But within moments your mind begins to chatter. This is strange. Why a wall? Shouldn't I be looking at something inspiring? A garden, a candle, a serene Buddha statue. The monk seems to sense your restlessness. When you sit facing nothing, he murmurs, you begin to see everything. At first, it's just thoughts tumbling over themselves. Your to-do list, snatches of old conversations, random memories. One moment you're replaying a childhood embarrassment. The next you're wondering what's for lunch. The wall doesn't respond. It just is. And then it happens. A shift so subtle you almost miss it. You notice the space between thoughts, tiny gaps where silence peeks through. For a heartbeat, your mind feels clear like a still pond, reflecting the pale wall before you. A Zen saying drifts back to you. Sit quietly doing nothing. Spring comes, and the grass grows by itself. Perhaps this is what the monks mean. Not forcing stillness, but allowing it. Not fighting the noise, but watching it drift by like clouds across a vast sky. You adjust your posture slightly, feeling the pull in your lower back. A twinge of discomfort rises, but you don't shift again. Instead, you breathe into the ache, observing it like another passing thought. In ancient China, Master Bodhidharma was said to have faced a wall for 9 years, unmoving, until he found enlightenment. Some say he stared so long his shadow burned into the stone. You wonder, what could he have seen in that empty wall that the whole world couldn't show him? The answer doesn't come as words, but as a softening in your chest. Maybe the wall isn't empty. Maybe it's a mirror quietly reflecting everything you've carried inside. The monk's voice drifts in like a breeze. This is not about escaping the world. It's about seeing it clearly, without the stories we tell ourselves. You blink slowly. The plaster's texture comes into focus, the cracks like tiny rivers, the faint discolorations where light and shadow meet. You notice how even this plain wall holds its own quiet beauty. Maybe nothing is as empty as it seems. A question arises in your mind, soft as a whisper. What would happen if I stopped fighting myself, if I stopped trying to fix to perfect, to become and simply sat as I am? Zen masters might ask, who is the one watching the wall? For a moment you feel yourself dissolve. There's no you, no wall, only a field of stillness stretching endlessly in all directions. The sensation is fleeting, like a candle flickering before going out. But when it passes, you're left with a quiet warmth in your chest, like embers glowing in the dark. The bell chimes faintly at the far end of the hall. The monk rises and bows toward the wall. Even silence ends, he says, but its echo remains. You bow too, feeling a strange gratitude for the blankness, for the stillness, for the vastness you touched, even if only for a breath. As you step back into the hallway, you notice your thoughts are moving slower now, like leaves drifting on a gentle stream. The wall remains behind you, but a part of its stillness seems to have followed you out. And in the quiet of your mind, a single thought arises. Perhaps the wall wasn't teaching me about emptiness at all. Perhaps it was teaching me about presence. Section 7. The sound beyond sound. Reflecting on silence as the purest teacher of all. The day has faded into night again, and the temple feels even quieter than before. You step outside and pause on the stone steps, letting the cool air settle on your skin. A faint mist curls through the garden, softening the outlines of trees and lanterns, until everything looks like a painting, subtle, muted, alive in its stillness. There's no sound, not even the distant bell. But somehow the silence itself seems to hum, as if the world is singing in a voice too soft for the ears. You begin walking down the path, your feet barely making a sound against the stones. Each step feels lighter than the last, as though the earth is carrying you. The mist thickens slightly and you catch the faintest hint of jasmine in the air. In Zen teachings, there is an idea called the sound beyond sound. It is not a literal sound, but a state of awareness, a deep listening to what is beneath words, beneath even thought. The monks call it the Great Silence. You stop by the stream and crouch low, watching the water glide over smooth rocks. Its gentle flow creates tiny ripples that catch the moonlight. At first, you hear only the trickle of water. But then you notice something else, the silence between the sounds. It isn't empty. It feels full, somehow alive with presence. The Buddha once said, "Silence is sometimes the best answer." You wonder if this is what he meant. Not silence as absence, but as a kind of listening that embraces all things. You sit on a mossy stone and close your eyes. At first, your mind tries to fill the stillness with chatter. Little worries creep in. What time is it? Am I doing this right? But you let them pass like leaves floating downstream. Slowly, you begin to hear other sounds. The rustle of bamboo in the breeze, the faint creak of a wooden gate swinging somewhere far away. Each sound rises and falls naturally like a wave dissolving into the ocean. And beneath it all, that soft hum of silence remains steady, unchanging, vast. There's a Zen story about a student who asked his master, "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" The master smiled and struck the floor with his staff. The sharp crack echoed through the hall, then faded into stillness. "Listen," the master said. "Do you hear the sound before and after the strike? That is the sound of one hand." You open your eyes and gaze at the stream again. The water is still flowing, yet it seems quieter now. Not because the sound has changed, but because you have. You begin to wonder, what would it be like to carry this deep listening into everyday life? To hear not just the noise of the world, but also the quiet spaces in between. Zen masters might ask, when you stop speaking, who is listening? A soft breeze brushes against your cheek, and for a moment, you feel weightless, as if the world itself is holding you in its palm. The monk appears again, walking silently up the path. He doesn't speak, he simply sits beside you, hands resting lightly on his knees. After a long pause, he says, "The greatest sound is not the bell or the wind or the stream. It is the sound of your own heart when it is finally still." You listen closely. At first, there's only your breath moving in and out like a gentle tide. Then you notice your heartbeat slow, steady, strong. This is the sound beyond sound. The monk rises and bows slightly before walking away his robes, whispering against the ground. You stay where you are rooted in stillness. As you gaze at the water, a thought arises soft and unhurried. Perhaps I don't need to seek answers in words. Perhaps I only need to listen. A tiny frog croaks nearby, breaking the silence. You smile faintly. Even this sound feels perfect, part of the great tapestry of night. You rise slowly, feeling the cool air swirl around you. The path ahead seems to glow faintly in the moonlight, inviting you to follow. And as you walk, each step feels lighter, as if the earth itself is whispering. You're already here. You've always been here. Section 8. The bell fades. The journey completes with a soft return to your own breath. You walk slowly back toward the temple hall, your steps light and unhurried. The path feels familiar now. Each stone, each curve of the garden, carrying a quiet memory of the journey you've taken tonight. The air is cooler, tinged with the scent of pine and earth. Overhead, the sky stretches like a deep ocean, stars scattered like tiny lanterns across its surface. As you near the hall, the soft glow of candlelight spills out onto the wooden veranda. The bell hangs in the center of the room, its bronze surface catching the flicker of flame. It looks the same as it did before. Silent still, yet somehow different. As if the journey through the garden, the tea house, the pine tree and the stream has changed your way of seeing. The monk is waiting. He sits cross-legged beside the bell, his hands resting gently on his knees. He looks up as you approach and smiles, not a wide, toothy grin, but the quiet, knowing smile of someone who has been here before. He gestures for you to sit. You lower yourself onto the mat, folding your legs and resting your hands in your lap. The room is silent, except for the soft hiss of a candle burning low. The monk picks up the mallet, his movements slow and deliberate. He holds it to the bell but does not strike yet. This bell, he says softly, has no voice until it is struck, and even then its sound fades into silence. He looks at you for a long moment. The question is not whether the bell will fade, but whether you can listen deeply enough to hear its echo long after the sound is gone. You take a slow breath. The air feels thick with stillness, as if the world itself is pausing to listen. The monk raises the mallet slightly and taps the bell. Gong! The sound blooms in the air, warm and resonant, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. It fills the room, then begins to soften, dissolving into the space between breaths. You close your eyes and listen. The sound lingers not just in your ears, but in your whole body. You feel it in your chest, your fingertips, even in your breath. And as the sound fades, you notice something curious. The silence that follows is not empty. It feels full, rich, alive, holding everything and nothing all at once. Perhaps this is what the monks mean by returning, not going anywhere but coming back to the place you never truly left. The Buddha once said, "Within you, there is a stillness, a sanctuary to which you can retreat at any time and be yourself." You feel it now, that sanctuary, vast and quiet, waiting patiently within you. The monk sets the mallet down and folds his hands. The bell's sound has ended, he says softly, but its teaching continues. You sit in the fading glow of candlelight, feeling your breath rise and fall like the tide. The weight you didn't realize you were carrying has slipped from your shoulders. In its place is something lighter, not joy exactly, nor even peace, but a gentle, spacious calm. You open your eyes. The room looks the same, yet you feel as if you are seeing it for the first time. The monk bows slightly. It's time to rest now. You rise slowly, your body moving with an ease you haven't felt in a long time. As you step out into the night, the garden greets you like an old friend. The air hums faintly with the memory of the bell. You take one last breath of the cool night air and whisper to yourself. The sound fades, but the stillness remains. And in that stillness, you feel yourself settle deeply into the present here now enough. Story 2. Footsteps in the Garden. A monk's quiet walk reveals lessons of mindfulness and impermanence. Section 1. The Morning Path. A monk's deliberate steps awaken you to presence in each moment. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine a quiet garden, soft morning light, spilling across smooth stones and the sound of footsteps so gentle they could be mistaken for a breeze. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You step into the garden just as the first rays of sunlight slip through the bamboo grove. The air is crisp and cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and blossoms just beginning to open. Ahead of you, a monk in simple robes walks slowly along the stone path. His hands are folded neatly in front of him, his gaze lowered, not in avoidance, but in quiet attention. Each step he takes seems deliberate, as if the whole weight of the universe depends on his footfall. And yet there is no heaviness in his movement, only ease of flowing grace that makes the ground itself seem softer beneath his feet. You follow at a respectful distance, listening to the soft sound of sandals brushing against the stones. The Buddha taught walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. You try to mirror the monk's pace, lifting one foot, placing it gently down. Already you notice how your body wants to rush to cover the distance quickly, but something about this place slows you. You take another step, and then another, feeling the coolness of the stone through the thin soles of your slippers. The garden seems to respond. A dragonfly hovers near a cluster of dewdrops, its wings catching the light like shards of glass. Somewhere nearby, a bird calls once, then falls silent. The monk pauses and rests his hand on the trunk of a young maple tree. Its leaves are still damp with dew trembling slightly in the breeze. He doesn't speak, but you feel as if he's inviting you to see not just the tree, but the stillness around it, the life humming quietly beneath the surface. In Zen practice, there's a walking meditation called kinin. Each step is taken in rhythm with the breath inhale lift, exhale place. It isn't about going anywhere. It's about arriving fully with each footfall. You try it now. Inhale lift, exhale place. Your mind wants to wander. Am I doing this right? How far until the next turn? But then you notice the sound of your own breath, the way the air cools your nostrils on the in-breath and warms slightly on the out-breath. It feels quiet. A Zen master might ask, what would happen if you stopped walking to get somewhere and started walking just to walk? The monk begins moving again, slower this time, as if the morning itself has asked him to linger. A petal drifts down from a cherry tree and lands on the stone path. He stops and stoops to pick it up, holding it lightly in his palm before letting it float away on the breeze. You wonder, could I live my life like this? Moving gently, noticing each moment, letting go when it's time. The air feels warmer now, sunlight filtering through the branches in soft golden streams. You pause for a moment and feel your own heartbeat slow and steady, as if the garden's stillness has seeped into your chest. The monk glances over his shoulder and smiles just slightly before continuing on. And with that small gesture, you realize this isn't just about walking. It's about being here, fully awake to the present, one quiet step at a time. Section 2. Petals on the stone. Observing falling flowers teaches the beauty and truth of impermanence. The monk's sandals brush softly against the stones as he turns a corner in the garden. You follow quietly, noticing how the path narrows here, bordered on both sides by clusters of flowering trees. Cherry blossoms, delicate and pale pink, flutter gently in the morning breeze. Some cling to the branches, trembling like they're holding their breath. Others have already let go, spinning lazily through the air before landing on the stone path. You pause and crouch low, watching as a single petal drifts downward. It lands on the edge of a smooth stone, then slides off with the faintest whisper. The monk stops too. He kneels by a small cluster of fallen petals and brushes them together with his fingers, almost as if he's gathering tiny pieces of the dawn itself. "See how they fall," he says quietly, his voice no louder than the rustling leaves. Not with fear, not with regret, just letting go. You watch as another blossom detaches from its branch, swirling through the air. The Buddha once taught, all conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. At first, the words seem distant, abstract. But as you watch the blossoms falling, something softens in your chest. You think of all the moments in your own life. You've tried to hold on to the laughter of a friend. Long gone the feeling of a summer afternoon that seemed like it would never end, the version of yourself you thought would last forever. But even as those moments passed, didn't they leave something behind? Memory, a lesson, a quiet beauty like these petals resting gently on the stones. The monk begins walking again, his steps even slower now, as if the garden itself has asked him to move carefully so as not to disturb the peace. There's a Zen story about a master who asked his student, "If the flower falls, does it die or does it return?" The student pondered for years before answering, "It returns, but not as I expect." You take another breath, feeling the coolness of the morning air fill your lungs. What if impermanence isn't something to fear? What if it's the very thing that makes every step, every breath, every smile so precious? The monk bends slightly to pick up a petal and holds it out to you. You take it gingerly between your fingers. It's so light you can barely feel its weight, so delicate you're afraid it might dissolve in your hand. "Life is like this," the monk whispers. "Beautiful because it ends. Precious because we can't hold it forever." He releases the petal, and you watch as it drifts away, carried off by the breeze. For a moment you stand perfectly still. The sound of the wind moving through the branches seems louder now, like the earth itself is breathing around you. A question arises in your mind, gentle but insistent. If I stopped clinging to what was, could I open myself to what is? You exhale slowly and take a step forward. A few petals crunch softly underfoot, their fragrance rising faintly in the air. The monk glances back at you and smiles, not with sadness, but with a quiet knowing. And in that smile, you understand nothing is truly lost. Everything changes, yes. But in every ending, there is also a beginning. Like blossoms falling, so new leaves can grow. You let the thought settle as light and quiet as a petal on stone. And then in silence, you follow the monk deeper into the garden. Section 3. Listening to the wind. A gentle breeze becomes a guide to mindfulness in motion. The path leads you past a stand of slender bamboo, their tall stalks swaying gently in the breeze. A soft rustling sound fills the air like 1,000 tiny chimes, playing together, rising and falling in waves. The monk ahead of you slows even more. His robes shift slightly as the wind curls around him, tugging playfully at the loose fabric. He doesn't resist. Instead, he pauses mid-step, tilts his head slightly, and closes his eyes. You stop too, listening. At first, you hear only the obvious. The wind sighing through the bamboo, the faint creak of branches, the whisper of leaves brushing one another. But then you notice the spaces in between, tiny pauses where the air seems to hold its breath. The monk opens his eyes and turns toward you. His voice is barely above a whisper. The wind has no shape, no sound of its own. It borrows the voices of the world. You let his words settle as you watch the bamboo sway. Each stalk bends easily, yielding to the breeze, but never breaking. The Buddha once said, "Nothing ever remains the same, and that is why it is precious." You think of how often you've tried to push against life's winds, fighting change, resisting uncertainty, longing for things to stay still. But here in this garden, the breeze feels different. It's not an enemy. It's a teacher. The monk begins walking again, each footfall perfectly in sync with the rise and fall of his breath. There's a Zen practice called listening to the wind. No mantra, no focus, just letting the ears open wide and allowing all sounds to flow through without grasping or naming them. You try it now. The wind brushes your cheek cool and soft. A bird chirps in the distance, and somewhere nearby, a leaf breaks loose and spins downward. The garden becomes a living symphony, each sound a note in a song that has no beginning, no end. And as you listen, a thought drifts through your mind. What if I could live like the bamboo, rooted yet flexible, bending gracefully with life's currents? A sudden gust stirs the air, lifting a swirl of fallen petals into a brief dance before scattering them again. You smile faintly, watching their delicate forms tumble and float. Zen masters sometimes ask, "Can you hear the sound of the wind before it touches the trees?" The question lingers in your mind as you take a slow step forward. You don't need to answer. Just listening is enough. The monk pauses by a small stone bench, placing his hand on its cool surface. He says softly, "The wind doesn't cling to where it's been, nor does it rush ahead to where it's going. It moves freely, fully present in each moment." You stand there for a long while, letting the breeze wash over you. It seems to carry away the noise in your mind, the thoughts and worries you didn't even realize you were holding. The air feels lighter now, and so do you. You breathe in deeply, then let it go with a long, slow exhale. The wind stirs one last time, then calms, leaving only a gentle stillness in its place. The monk looks back at you and smiles before continuing down the path. You follow your steps quieter now, as if the garden itself is teaching you to walk more softly, more mindfully. And as you move, a quiet realization takes hold. Maybe peace isn't about stopping the wind. Maybe it's about learning to move with it. Section 4. The Koi's Circle. Lessons from watching fish glide silently in a temple pond. The path opens into a small clearing where a pond lies still beneath the morning sky. Its surface is like glass, broken only by the slow, silent movements of koi gliding beneath the water. The monk stops at the edge of the pond, folding his hands gently in front of him. He gazes down at the fish, saying nothing yet. His stillness feels louder than words. You step closer, careful not to disturb the peace. The koi move gracefully in wide, lazy circles, their orange and white bodies rippling the surface as they pass. The air smells faintly of moss and damp stone. A dragonfly hovers just above the water, its transparent wings catching the light like fine silk. The monk kneels and gestures for you to sit. You do, feeling the coolness of the stone seep into your legs as you settle. "Watch them," the monk murmurs. "They are never in a hurry. Yet they arrive everywhere they need to be." You let your eyes follow one koi as it circles slowly near the surface. Its movements are effortless, no sudden turns, no wasted energy, just a quiet, unbroken flow. The Buddha once said, "Just as a fish swims freely in water, so should the mind move through life without clinging." You think about all the times you've tried to swim against the currents in your own life, fighting circumstances, resisting change, trying to control what could never be controlled. But here, watching the koi, you sense another way, a way of moving with life's currents rather than against them. There's a Zen story about a monk who spent years studying the ripples in a pond. When asked what he had learned, he simply replied, "The water flows where it will. My heart has learned to do the same." A light breeze stirs the surface, creating gentle rings that expand outward, overlapping one another until they fade. You wonder, what if I could live like this? Gliding gently through the water of my days, leaving ripples that touch others, but never clinging to the shapes they make. The monk picks up a small pebble and drops it into the pond. You watch as the ripples spread, distorting the koi's reflections. Yet, the fish don't flinch. They continue their slow dance, unbothered by the disturbance. Life will send ripples, the monk says softly. But the pond always returns to stillness. You let the words sink in. Maybe peace isn't about avoiding disturbances. Maybe it's about trusting that stillness will return just as the pond finds its calm again and again. A koi surfaces briefly, its mouth opening as if to sip the air. For a moment it seems to look directly at you before gliding back into the depths. Zen masters might ask, can you let your thoughts swim like koi, arising, circling, then sinking back into the quiet depths? The monk rises slowly, brushing the dust from his robes. The koi do not ask where the current leads, he says. They only swim. You watch as he begins walking again, his steps slow and deliberate. The pond's surface grows still once more, perfectly reflecting the sky above. And as you rise to follow, you feel a sense of lightness, as if something heavy has dissolved in the quiet water. You take one last glance at the koi, their movements calm, their circles unbroken. And in that stillness, a thought comes to you, like a whisper. Perhaps peace isn't found in stopping the ripples. Perhaps it's found in watching them and letting them fade. You step back onto the path, the sound of your footfall blending softly with the rustle of the breeze in the trees. Section 5. Raking the sand. The Zen garden reveals simplicity and the practice of letting go. The path leads you to a small, open courtyard where a Zen sand garden stretches out before you. At first glance, it seems so simple: smooth, white sand, raked into concentric circles and flowing lines punctuated here and there by dark, weathered stones. The monk stops at the edge of the courtyard, leaning the wooden rake against a nearby post. The handle is worn smooth from years of hands passing over it. He gestures for you to sit on the low wooden platform that runs along the garden's edge. You settle down, crossing your legs and letting your hands rest loosely in your lap. The sand is still the pattern's precise, and yet there's a softness to the lines, as if they were drawn not with rigid intention, but with a quiet, flowing hand. The monk picks up the rake and steps barefoot onto the sand. His movements are deliberate, graceful. With each pull of the rake, fresh patterns emerge, waves curling gently around the stone's lines, intersecting, spiraling outward like ripples on water. You watch as he reaches the far edge, pauses, and then without hesitation, rakes over the patterns he just created, erasing them completely. At first, this surprises you. The designs were so intricate, so beautiful. Why destroy them? As if reading your thoughts, the monk speaks softly. This is practice, creation and dissolution. Each pattern is perfect, and yet it cannot stay. The Buddha taught, all compounded things are subject to decay. Strive on with mindfulness. You let the words settle as you watch him begin again, drawing new lines in the sand. There's a story in Zen about a master who raked his garden every morning. A student asked why he spent so much effort knowing the wind would scatter the sand by nightfall. The master smiled and replied, "Because the wind will scatter it, I rake." You think of how often you've clung to your own patterns in life. Projects, relationships, identities you tried to preserve exactly as they were, fearing change would erase their meaning. But here, watching the monk's hands move gently, you see another possibility. What if letting go isn't losing? What if it's part of the art itself? The monk pauses, leaning on the rake for a moment. The sunlight catches in the grooves of the sand, turning them into rivers of light. He says quietly, "In each moment we create. In each breath we release. This is the rhythm of life." You feel the cool wood of the platform beneath your hands, grounding you. A breeze stirs, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. Zen masters might ask, can you let go of each breath as it leaves, trusting the next will come? The monk finishes his work and steps off the sand, bowing slightly to the garden as he sets the rake aside. He turns to you and smiles a simple, gentle smile that says more than words could. You rise slowly, feeling your body lighter, your breath deeper. The garden remains behind you, its patterns already beginning to blur as the wind stirs the surface. And as you follow the monk down the path, a quiet thought lingers. Perhaps peace isn't found in holding on, but in the graceful art of release. Section 6. The lantern's glow. Evening light and shadows show how all things arise and fade. The sun has begun its slow descent beyond the hills, and the garden is awash in warm amber light. Shadows lengthen across the path, stretching like soft brushstrokes on the mossy ground. The monk walks ahead, his robes catching the golden glow as he approaches a row of stone lanterns lining the edge of a quiet clearing. Each lantern is topped with a small weathered roof, its hollow center glowing faintly with a single flame. He stops at the first lantern, crouches low, and cups his hand around the flickering light. You notice how gently he shields it from the breeze, as if even the wind might pause out of respect. You sit nearby, watching as the monk lights a fresh candle and places it inside the next lantern. The flame leaps to life, steady and warm, illuminating the carved stone. The garden seems to hold its breath. Each flickering light casts soft, shifting shadows on the ground, blending with the fading sun. In Zen, the monk says softly, "We light lanterns at dusk, not to chase away the darkness, but to honor it." Light and shadow are not enemies. They create one another. You let his words sink in your gaze, resting on a single lantern. Its flame sways gently, casting tiny sparks of light that dance on the surrounding stones. The Buddha once said, "Thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened." You imagine your own life as a candle, its light flickering in the vastness of the world. How often have you feared your flame would go out? Yet here in this quiet clearing, you realize even when a candle burns low, it gives its warmth fully without hesitation. A breeze sweeps through the garden. One of the lanterns flickers wildly, the flame shrinking for a moment before righting itself. The monk watches it calmly and says every flame dances, every flame fades. But in its dance, it illuminates the world. You think about the times you've tried to hold the light still in your own life, fighting change, fearing endings. But perhaps it is in the dance, the swaying and flickering, that the true beauty lives. There's an old Zen practice called karasan sui, or dry landscape meditation. Monks rake stones and sand not to make them permanent, but to watch the shadows shift as the light changes hour by hour. Nothing is fixed. Everything breathes. You lift your eyes to the sky. Already the first stars have begun to appear, faint pinpricks of light in the deepening blue. A thought arises soft as the evening air. Could I let my own light shine fully even, knowing it will someday fade? Zen masters might ask if you are both the flame and the shadow, which is more real. The monk rises and bows slightly toward the row of glowing lanterns. One by one they seem to lean into the darkness, their light growing gentler as the night deepens. As you stand to follow him, you notice your own shadow stretching long across the path, merging with the garden's darkened corners. It isn't frightening. It feels like an embrace. Perhaps this is the lesson of the lantern's light doesn't conquer the dark, it belongs to it. And in this soft glow, your heart feels quieter, as if it too has become a small, steady flame, dancing peacefully in the night. Section 7. The Gate That Opens. A monk's pause at the garden gate reflects on acceptance and change. The path narrows now, leading to an old wooden gate at the far edge of the garden. The air here feels different, cooler, tinged with the faint scent of pine resin and earth. Crickets have begun their evening song, their soft, rhythmic chirps weaving into the quiet like nature's own mantra. The monk slows his steps as he nears the gate. He runs his fingers lightly over the wood, tracing the deep grooves carved by time and weather. The hinges creak gently as he pushes the gate open, but he doesn't step through right away. Instead, he pauses, resting his hand on the frame as if listening for something. You stop behind him, feeling the shift in energy. Beyond the gate, the forest stretches into darkness, its canopy dense and alive with unseen movements. The sound of rustling leaves rises and falls like a slow breath. The monk turns slightly and gestures for you to stand beside him. His voice is low, almost blending with the sounds of the night. In Zen, a gate is more than a passage. It is a threshold, a place where one life ends and another begins. You gaze at the open space before you. The garden feels safe, familiar now, with its lanterns glowing softly in the background. The forest beyond seems vast, mysterious, full of things you cannot yet see. There's a teaching in Buddhism. All things arise, dwell for a while, and pass away. This is their nature. When you understand this deeply, you are at peace. You feel the weight of those words as you stand there breathing in the cool night air. The monk steps halfway through the gate, then stops again. He touches the worn threshold with his fingers. This gate has stood here for centuries. Thousands have passed through. Some entered seeking answers, others left carrying peace. All of them were changed in some way. You watch him closely, noticing how his presence feels the same on both sides of the gate. Calm, grounded, at ease. There's a Zen story about a student who asked his master, "When I cross the threshold, how will I know I'm ready?" The master replied, "The moment you lift your foot, you are already on the path." You glance down at your own feet, feeling the rough texture of the stones beneath your soles. Could I take the next step? Could I leave behind what no longer serves me and enter what waits ahead, even if I don't know what it holds? Zen masters might ask, what is the gate and who is the one crossing? The monk turns and smiles softly. This is not about rushing forward or clinging to where you are. It is about seeing that each breath is a gate. Each moment is a threshold. You close your eyes for a moment and listen. The breeze rustles the branches overhead. A small bird calls from deep within the forest, and beneath it all there's a steady silence, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. When you open your eyes, the monk has stepped through the gate. He waits on the other side, his hands folded gently in front of him. He says nothing, but you can feel the invitation in his quiet presence. You take one slow breath, then another. And with the third, you lift your foot and step forward. The gate doesn't creak. It doesn't resist. It simply swings gently behind you as you cross the threshold. And in that simple movement, you sense a shift, not in the world, but in yourself. Perhaps every step we take is a new beginning. Perhaps the gate has always been open. Section 8. The last footstep, returning to stillness as the garden teaches presence beyond movement. The night deepens as you walk further into the garden, the moon now casting a silver glow that softens every edge. The air is cool and still carrying a quiet that feels almost tangible, as if the whole world has paused just for this moment. You follow the monk along a winding path lined with soft moss and fallen leaves. His footsteps are slow, deliberate, but you notice something new. The space between each step seems to expand, as if he's not just walking, but also stopping to breathe into the silence itself. You begin to slow your own pace, letting the rhythm of your breath match the gentle cadence of the garden. The stone beneath your feet feels smooth worn by countless others who have traveled this way before you. The monk turns briefly and offers a faint smile, one that carries years of quiet wisdom and peaceful acceptance. Without a word, he gestures ahead to a small clearing where the path ends and the garden folds into itself like a secret held close. You pause there, feeling the stillness settle deep into your bones. The leaves rustle softly overhead, and the faintest sound of distant water trickling reaches your ears. In Zen, there is a practice called just sitting, or shikantaza, a meditation of pure presence without striving or effort. It is the return to the place before movement, before thought. You sit down on a soft patch of moss, folding your legs beneath you. The earth feels warm and steady, grounding you in this moment of rest. The monk settles beside you, their breath mingling with yours, a shared rhythm of calm. You close your eyes and let go of the day's worries, the restless thoughts that tug at you like invisible threads. Inhale, exhale. You become aware of the space between your breaths, the quiet that fills the pause. The silence is not empty, but full of vast, welcoming presence that holds you gently. The Buddha taught that true peace is found not in avoiding life's storms, but in standing steady amid them, like a tree rooted deep, unshaken by the winds. The garden has shown you this truth movement, and stillness arrival, and letting go, light and shadow, all are part of the dance. Zen masters might ask, when the footsteps end, what remains? As you sit, you sense the answer arise naturally, not as a concept, but as a feeling warm and quiet within your chest. The last footstep has fallen away. You are here fully present, completely whole. The moonlight bathes the garden in a gentle glow. The night carries the scent of pine and earth, and a soft breeze brushes your skin like a tender caress. You breathe slowly, deeply, feeling the peace of the moment unfold like a delicate flower. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do. Only this vast, peaceful presence holding you now. And as the stars wheel silently overhead, you rest in the stillness, the garden, the breath, the moment itself. Here you are home. Story 3. The Path to Inner Peace. Vertical bar. Listening to the wind. A meditation on impermanence. Section 1. The Whispering Breeze. Introducing the subtle presence of impermanence through wind's gentle touch. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine standing outside on a soft spring evening, feeling the gentle caress of a whispering breeze that carries with it the faint scent of blooming flowers and fresh earth. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand barefoot on the cool grass, feeling the earth's steady pulse beneath your feet. The wind stirs lightly, brushing your skin with a gentle touch, as if the air itself is breathing around you. You hear the rustling of leaves overhead, their soft flutter like nature's lullaby, inviting you to slow down. There's a Zen saying, "The wind doesn't ask where it is going, it simply moves." You notice how the breeze isn't constant. It shifts, sometimes soft, sometimes stronger, never fixed, never clinging to a single path. Its presence is fleeting, yet persistent, touching every leaf and branch before moving on. The Buddha taught that clinging fuels suffering. Let that sink in for a moment. Everything changes, and when we resist that flow, we create inner turbulence. You take a deep breath and imagine the wind flowing through you, carrying away the tightness and tension of the day. The sensation is calming, freeing. Some monks practice a meditation of listening not just to sounds, but to the spaces between them, the silence beneath the noise. It's called listening to the wind. Sitting quietly, they open their awareness to the ever-changing present moment, learning to rest in impermanence. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you stopped fighting the noise in your mind and began to listen deeply, just like the wind? You feel the coolness of the breeze on your cheek and realize you are beginning to arrive here now, where peace is not something to grasp, but something to let flow through you. The wind shifts again, gentle and unhurried. You close your eyes, breathing in harmony with its rhythm, allowing impermanence to become a friend, a guide on your path to inner peace. Section 2. Leaves in Flight. observing how falling leaves reveal the beauty of change and letting go. The breeze carries you gently forward as you walk beneath the canopy of ancient trees. You feel the soft crunch of dry leaves beneath your feet, each step releasing a faint, earthy scent that mingles with the cool air. Overhead, leaves flutter and twist, caught briefly in the wind's invisible hands, before settling slowly to the ground. You stop for a moment and watch a single leaf detach itself from its branch. It drifts twirling and spinning, caught in the dance of the wind, before finally resting softly on the earth. Impermanence reveals itself in this simple moment. The leaf's journey from tree to ground is inevitable, natural, and beautiful. It is a reminder that all things rise, move, and eventually fall away. This is the natural cycle woven into every aspect of life. The Buddha taught that all conditioned things are impermanent. To truly understand this is to begin loosening the grip on attachment and suffering. You reflect on your own experiences, the fleeting nature of joy and sorrow, relationship success and failure. Holding tightly to what must change only increases your inner tension. In the quiet garden, the leaf's fall teaches you to let go gracefully. You consider how you might release the parts of yourself that cling too tightly to the past or the future. There is a Zen story about a monk who, upon seeing a falling leaf, exclaimed, "Today is the day I understand impermanence." It was not an intellectual understanding, but a deep, lived realization. You take a deep breath and imagine yourself as that leaf, allowing the wind to carry you, trusting the process without fear or resistance. The wind's touch is soft, unpredictable, and unhurried. You feel invited to move gently with life's currents rather than against them. Zen masters might ask, if you could live each moment like a falling leaf, accepting change without grasping, how would your heart respond? As you exhale slowly, you sense a peaceful release unfolding within you, a quiet acceptance of life's natural flow. The breeze rustles through the branches above, carrying the soft murmur of impermanence as it guides you deeper into the present moment. Section 3. The ever-changing sky. Reflecting on the sky's shifting hues as a metaphor for life's impermanence. The sky above stretches wide and endless, a canvas painted in shifting shades of blue and soft clouds drifting like wandering thoughts. You lie back on the cool grass, feeling its gentle firmness beneath you, and watch as the light dances across the ever-changing sky. The clouds slowly morph and glide, never the same from one moment to the next. Their shapes dissolve, reform, and vanish, reminding you of the constant flow of life itself. Even the vast sky is not fixed. It breathes, it moves, it transforms. The Buddha taught that clinging to permanence is a source of suffering, because nothing in the world remains unchanged. Observing the sky's infinite transitions, you begin to sense how liberation arises when you surrender to impermanence. You breathe in the openness above you, letting go of rigid ideas and expectations. The cloud's slow drift becomes a metaphor for your thoughts. Rising, passing, never grasping, simply flowing. Some Zen monks practice a meditation called cloud watching, where they focus on the sky's endless transformation, using it as a mirror to their own changing minds. A playful breeze brushes your skin, and you feel the intimate connection between your breath and the sky's vastness. You are both part of the same flowing dance, this body, these thoughts, and the world beyond. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you saw yourself like a cloud here now, but free to dissolve and become something new? You inhale deeply, filling your lungs with fresh air, and exhale softly, releasing tension. You feel your mind soften and widen, just like the sky, holding both stillness and movement. The sun begins to dip lower, casting golden hues that melt into pinks and purples, painting the horizon with a gentle farewell to the day. In this moment, you find a quiet peace. Not from holding on to anything, but from embracing the endless flow of change, the infinite dance of impermanence. The sky in your heart both open wide, vast and free. Section 4. The river's flow. Embracing life's constant movement through the image of a flowing river. You find yourself drawn to the gentle murmuring of a nearby river, its waters weaving through the landscape like a silver ribbon catching the fading light. Sitting on a smooth stone by its edge, you watch the current glide effortlessly downstream, carrying leaves, twigs, and memories alike. The water never pauses, never looks back. It simply moves constantly, reshaping itself, adapting to every rock and bend in its path. Its flow is both relentless and serene, a perfect embodiment of change. The Buddha taught that life is like a river, always flowing, never the same from one moment to the next. To cling to any fixed point in time or circumstance is to invite suffering. You dip your fingers into the cool water, feeling its fluidity slip through your grasp. No matter how tightly you hold, it cannot be contained. And yet, it does not vanish. It continues on, transforming and nourishing everything it touches. Some Zen practitioners meditate by riversides, watching the water's movement to deepen their understanding of impermanence. This practice invites a letting go, a surrender to the natural current of life without resistance. You notice a fallen leaf floating on the surface, caught momentarily in a swirl, before continuing downstream. The leaf's journey reminds you that even in change, there is purpose and beauty. Zen masters might ask, can you move through life like this river, welcoming change and flowing with it, rather than struggling against? You breathe in deeply, allowing your mind to become like the river, clear, adaptable, alive. As the sun lowers, the river reflects the warm hues of twilight, a shimmering tapestry of oranges and purples dancing on the water's surface. You feel yourself relax, carried by the rhythm of the river's flow, embracing the truth that peace is found not in holding steady, but in moving gracefully with the ever-changing current. Section 5. The silent moment. Experiencing stillness amidst change and the peace it brings, the garden falls into a profound hush as you settle onto a smooth wooden bench, your fingers tracing the grain of the surface beneath you. Around you, the soft sound of raked sand fills the air, the deliberate rhythmic swish as a monk draws patterns in the Zen garden before you. The sand is immaculate and white, the raked lines flowing like gentle rivers around carefully placed stones. It's a landscape both simple and intricate, embodying stillness and movement in perfect harmony. The monk's rake moves slowly, each stroke a mindful act of creation and release. With each pass, the lines emerge, swirl, then are erased again in quiet surrender. You watch the transient designs, feeling their calm energy ripple through the space. The act of raking isn't just about forming patterns. It's a meditation on impermanence itself. Each line you see will soon disappear, yet the process is continuous, ever-changing. The Buddha's teaching on impermanence reminds you that all forms arise, persist for a moment, and fade away. Holding tightly to any one shape or state causes suffering. This garden embodies that truth, a beautiful reminder that change is the only constant. By raking and smoothing, monks practice letting go with grace, embracing transformation without clinging. You let your gaze soften, noticing how the stones stand firm amid the flowing sand, grounded yet part of the ever-shifting whole. Zen masters might ask, how can you hold space for change, allowing old patterns to dissolve and new ones to arise without resistance? A gentle breeze lifts a few grains of sand, scattering them softly across the garden, reminding you that even the smallest movement alters everything. You breathe in the calm simplicity of this place, feeling yourself release the tight grip of control and expectation. In this moment, you discover peace not in permanence, but in flow, the delicate balance of holding and letting go. The garden, with its endless cycles of creation and dissolution, becomes a mirror for your own heart's journey toward acceptance and serenity. Section 6. Dancing with the Storm. Finding calm through acceptance during life's turbulent times. As the sun begins to dip behind distant hills, the garden's stone lanterns are lit one by one, their warm glow casting soft shadows that dance gently across the gravel and moss. You stroll slowly along the winding path, feeling the coolness of the evening air mingle with the gentle flicker of lantern light. The lanterns are humble, yet profound symbols, a balance between light and darkness, presence and absence. Their flames do not chase away the night, but honor it, embracing the interplay of shadow and glow. The monk beside you pauses at one lantern, cupping the tiny flame in his hands, as if protecting something precious yet fragile. "Light and shadow arise together," he says softly. "Neither can exist without the other." You watch the flickering flame, noticing how its glow creates an ever-shifting tapestry of shapes, just as your thoughts and emotions ebb and flow within you. The Buddha's teachings remind us that all phenomena arise and cease. They are conditioned, impermanent, and interconnected. You sense in this moment how your own mind dances with light and shadow, moments of clarity, mixed with uncertainty, peace, mingling with restlessness. The monk's voice is a quiet invitation. To accept impermanence is to welcome the fullness of life, both its brightness and its darkness. There is a Zen practice called holding the lantern, where monks meditate on the ephemeral nature of light, learning to cherish the present moment without clinging. You breathe deeply, feeling the warmth of the flame extend inward, calming the restless stirrings of your mind. Zen masters might ask, if your thoughts were lanterns, how would you hold their light without fear of their flicker or fade? You glance up at the night sky, where stars begin to twinkle, distant lanterns. In the vast cosmos, each one a reminder of impermanence and connection. As you walk on the path illuminated softly before you, you carry with you the gentle lesson of the lanterns, that peace arises not from resisting change, but from embracing the light and shadow as one. Section 7. The Returning Wind. Understanding cycles of change and renewal in nature and self. You arrive at the garden's ancient wooden gate, its weathered frame standing quietly against the evening sky. The gate marks both an ending and a beginning, a threshold where the cultivated calm of the garden meets the vast, unknown world beyond. The monk pauses here, resting his hand lightly on the cool wood. His eyes close briefly, as if listening to the subtle murmur of the wind weaving through the leaves, or perhaps to the deeper stillness that lingers in this space between places. There is a certain sacredness to thresholds, a liminal zone where transformation happens. In Zen crossing, a gate is more than a physical act. It symbolizes stepping from one state of being into another, embracing the flow of change and impermanence. The Buddha taught that attachment to fixed places or states leads to suffering. But freedom arises when we embrace the flux of life's transitions. You sense the tension in your own heart, the pull between holding on and letting go familiarity, and the call of the unknown. The monk opens the gate slowly, its hinges creaking softly like a whispered invitation. He steps through, then turns back, his gaze gentle and encouraging. You take a deep breath and place your hand on the gate, feeling the rough grain beneath your fingers. With the next breath, you step forward, crossing the threshold into whatever awaits. Zen masters might ask, when you cross the gate, what do you leave behind and what do you carry with you? You realize that each moment is a gate, a chance to begin anew, to accept impermanence as the natural rhythm of existence. The wind stirs, wrapping around you like a soft shawl, carrying away old fears and making space for fresh possibilities. The garden and the gate remind you that peace is found not in resistance, but in surrender, not in holding fast, but in opening fully to the flow of life. With each step beyond the gate, you move closer to the heart of impermanence, and in that movement, closer to your own inner peace. Section 8. Settling leaves. Closing with the gentle arrival of peace through mindful acceptance of impermanence. The path beyond the gate unfolds softly beneath your feet, embraced by the gentle hush of twilight. The air is cool and fragrant, with the subtle scent of pine and damp earth, and the distant song of night insects hums like a lullaby around you. Each step you take feels lighter than the last, as though the weight of yesterday's worries is finally lifting. Ahead, the garden folds back into itself, a quiet clearing where the moon's pale light bathes everything in silver. The stones, moss, and ancient trees seem to hold a stillness deeper than the night itself. Here, movement slows and dissolves into presence. You settle gently onto the soft moss beneath a sprawling pine. The earth beneath you is cool, steady, grounding your body and mind. Your breath deepens naturally, expanding slowly as you settle into the here and now. The Buddha's teaching on just sitting, or shikantaza, echoes softly in your heart, being fully present without effort or striving, resting in the fullness of each moment. No judgment, no agenda, just quiet awareness. As you close your eyes, the sounds of the garden surround you. A gentle rustling of leaves, the faint trickle of water, the whisper of the wind threading through branches. These are not distractions, but invitations to deepen your peace. Your mind may wander like leaves carried on a stream, but each time you return gently to your breath, to this moment, to the stillness that underlies all movement. Zen masters might ask, when the last footstep fades, what remains? You feel it now. The soft pulse of life within and around you, the abiding presence that outlasts all change. It is the silent witness, the space in which all impermanence unfolds. With each breath, your body grows heavier, your mind quieter, as if you are sinking softly into the earth's embrace. The garden's timelessness becomes your own, a sanctuary where peace is not found, but uncovered, always present beneath the shifting forms. And as the moon rises higher, you rest deeply, cradled by the gentle arms of impermanence and stillness. Here, in this sacred moment, you are home. Story 4. Wisdom for Sleep. Vertical bar. The empty teacup. Zen reflections on humility. The empty teacup. Discovering humility through openness to learning. Section 1. Hey guys, tonight, we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine sitting quietly in a simple room with soft candlelight flickering, the faint scent of incense weaving through the air, inviting your breath to slow and your thoughts to soften. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit down, legs crossed, feeling the coolness of the floor beneath you. The world outside fades as your attention turns inward. A soft breeze rustles the leaves just beyond the window. Nature's own lullaby, easing your busy mind. In Zen, the image of an empty teacup is a powerful symbol. Imagine your mind as a cup. How full is it right now? Is it overflowing with worries, opinions, or judgments? Or is there room for something new? The Buddha taught that clinging and attachment fuel suffering. Let that sink in. When your mind is already full, how can new wisdom or peace enter? You hear the gentle pouring of tea into a cup, slow, deliberate, unhurried. But what happens if the cup is already full? The tea spills over, lost and wasted. This story is more than about tea. It's about humility, the willingness to empty your cup, to set aside your assumptions, and open yourself to learning. Some Zen monks practice this every day. They sit quietly, not to fill their minds with answers, but to watch their thoughts pass like clouds, always moving, never fixed. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you stopped fighting the noise in your mind and simply allowed it to drift by? Could you find peace in the space left behind? You breathe slowly, feeling the cup in your mind, emptying with each exhale. The wind outside carries away the last echoes of tension. In this moment, you realize emptiness is not lack. It is space for growth, for insight, for calm. And so, your journey with the empty teacup begins an invitation to humility, presence, and peace. Section 2. Pouring Tea. A story of letting go of preconceptions and embracing new wisdom. You sit comfortably, letting your attention soften like the warm light filtering gently through a paper screen. Outside, the world hums quietly, the distant chirp of crickets, the soft rustling of bamboo leaves stirred by a gentle breeze. Each sound invites your awareness to settle deeper into this moment. In your hands, you hold an empty teacup, simple, unadorned, yet full of possibility. The teacup's emptiness is not a void, but a space ready to receive, to be filled anew. This cup reflects the humble mind, open and free from clutter. The story goes of a scholar who visited a Zen master eager to learn wisdom. The master offered him tea, pouring steadily until the cup overflowed, spilling tea over the table. Surprised, the scholar exclaimed, "Stop, the cup is full." The master smiled and said, "Like this cup, your mind is full. How can I teach you unless you first empty it?" The Buddha taught that to understand truth, one must approach with a beginner's mind, a mind free of preconceived notions, open to experience. When the cup is full, no new understanding can enter. You breathe slowly, imagining yourself setting aside rigid thoughts and judgments. What if you could let go of the certainty that your way is the only way? Could you embrace curiosity and openness instead? In some Zen traditions, monks practice beginner's mind by engaging in simple tasks, raking sand, sweeping floors with full presence and humility. They learn to appreciate each moment as if it were the first time, without the weight of past knowledge clouding their perception. Zen masters might ask, how would your life change if you approached each day with a fresh mind, free from the burden of assumptions? You feel the quiet hum of possibility within you, a gentle invitation to soften and open. The wind rustles outside again, whispering secrets of letting go and beginning anew. With each breath, you sense the cup in your mind, emptying more fully, ready now to receive the subtle wisdom of stillness and simplicity. This is the path of humility, an embrace of emptiness, not as loss, but as the very ground of peace and growth. And so, your journey with the empty teacup deepens, inviting you to release, receive, and awaken. Section 3. The Overflowing Cup. How attachment blocks growth and understanding. You remain seated, the air around you soft and still, like a quiet breath held gently in the pause between moments. The empty teacup sits before you, its smooth surface catching the faint glow of lantern light. It is a simple vessel, silent, unassuming, but within its hollowness lies profound teaching. The Buddha taught that attachment to ideas, identities, and fixed views binds us in suffering. Just as a cup too full cannot hold new tea, so too does a mind crowded with rigid beliefs resist growth and peace. You watch the gentle steam rising from the freshly poured tea, its fragrant tendrils curling upward and vanishing into the still air. This fleeting dance reminds you of the impermanence that pervades all things. There is a lesser-known Zen practice that some monks embrace, sitting facing a blank wall for hours, not to focus on the wall itself, but to observe the passing of thoughts as they arise and dissolve. This silent vigilance reveals how thoughts like the steam come and go, none fixed, none permanent. You breathe in slowly, feeling your chest expand, and as you exhale, imagine your thoughts as delicate vapor drifting away without resistance. Zen masters might ask, what if you allowed your mind to be like the empty teacup, not resisting, not grasping, but open to whatever arises? In daily life, humility often hides in simple acts, bowing deeply before a teacher offering a gentle smile, or listening fully without interruption. These small gestures remind us that wisdom is not prideful but quiet and receptive. You think back to the scholar whose cup overflowed, not only a lesson in learning, but in humility. The scholar's readiness to empty himself made space for true understanding. As the tea cools in the cup, you realize that just as the warmth fades, so do all moments pass. Holding tightly only creates resistance. Releasing opens the heart. Your breath slows further, a gentle tide pulling you into deeper calm. You feel the weight of expectations and ego soften, replaced by a growing space, vast, quiet, welcoming. This is the wisdom of the empty teacup. In emptiness lies the potential for endless renewal, for peace beyond grasping. And so you sit holding this truth gently in your awareness, cradling the space where humility and wisdom meet. Section 4. Beginner's Mind. Cultivating curiosity and freshness in every moment. You settle more deeply into your seat, the quiet enveloping you, like a soft, warm blanket. The empty teacup before you is now a symbol, an invitation to explore the depths of humility and openness within yourself. The room feels still yet alive with the subtle hum of presence. The Buddha's teachings guide you here. Clinging to certainty only breeds suffering. True wisdom begins when we admit how much we do not know, when we empty ourselves of pride and preconceptions. In the Zen tradition, beginner's mind is a precious state of openness and curiosity. It is the mind of a child encountering the world anew, without judgment or expectation. The master Shunryu Suzuki said, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few." Imagine for a moment your mind as a clear lake. When the water is still and empty of disturbance, the sky and trees reflect perfectly on its surface. But when the lake is filled with debris, leaves, mud, and noise, the reflection becomes distorted and unclear. You breathe slowly, feeling your mind becoming still like that calm lake. Thoughts arise, but settle quickly, leaving your inner space clear and open. Some monks practice emptiness meditation, sitting quietly and simply observing the arising and passing of thoughts without attachment. They cultivate a state where no thought dominates, allowing the mind to rest freely. You might wonder, what happens when you meet each moment with humility, ready to learn, ready to listen, ready to be changed? Zen masters might ask, who are you before your ideas about yourself take hold? What remains when the cup is empty? You feel a softening inside, a release of tension, and the gentle blossoming of humility. This is not weakness, but strength, the strength to accept what is without resistance. The teacup's emptiness becomes a sacred space, a vessel for transformation and peace. As you breathe in and out, you feel gratitude for this simple teaching, knowing it will guide you long after the cup has been set down. The journey with the empty teacup continues a path of humility, presence, and endless possibility. Section 5. The Silent Teacher. Learning from stillness and silence beyond words. You remain seated, the gentle hum of the evening settling around you like a soft blanket. The empty teacup rests quietly before you, a symbol of openness and humility that invites you deeper into stillness. The Buddha taught that clinging to the self, our identities, opinions, and desires, is the root of suffering. Humility is the willingness to see beyond the ego's grasp, to recognize the fluidity of all things. Like an empty teacup, the humble mind invites new wisdom and compassion. Imagine the warmth of freshly poured tea within that empty cup. The cup itself is unchanged, but its contents vary moment to moment. The tea cools, changes flavor, and finally is gone, So too are our experiences transient, ever-shifting, never static. In some Zen monasteries, monks practice the art of tea ceremony as a moving meditation. Each movement, pouring, serving, sipping, is performed with mindful care and deep respect. The ceremony is not about perfection, but about presence and humility. You watch as the steam rises from the cup, curling into the air and disappearing. This delicate dance reminds you of the fleeting nature of life's moments and the grace found in accepting them fully. There's a Zen story about a master who served tea to a visitor. When the visitor spoke continuously of his knowledge, the master kept pouring tea until it overflowed the cup. "Stop," the visitor exclaimed, but the master said, "Like this cup, your mind is full. How can I teach you unless you first empty it?" This story isn't just about learning. It's about the humility needed to receive life's teachings without resistance. Zen masters might ask, what if humility is not a limitation, but a doorway to freedom? You take a slow breath, feeling your chest rise and fall gently. The tension held in your shoulders begins to ease as the space within your heart expands. Each exhale releases more resistance, more need to control or prove yourself. The empty cup becomes a sanctuary, a place where you can simply be. The wind outside rustles softly as if affirming your quiet transformation. You feel a gentle peace unfolding, delicate yet profound. This is the wisdom of the empty teacup. A reminder that openness and humility are not signs of weakness, but the very foundation of true strength and insight. You close your eyes for a moment, letting these teachings sink deeply into your being. The journey continues a path of emptying, receiving, and awakening. Section 6. The Wall-Gazing Monk. Exploring a lesser-known Zen practice of watching thoughts. The room around you grows quieter as the evening deepens, the soft flicker of candlelight casting gentle shadows on the walls. You sit comfortably, feeling the steady rhythm of your breath, the rise and fall that anchors you to this moment. The empty teacup before you remains a silent teacher, a symbol of humility, openness, and readiness. It invites you to reflect on how often we carry the weight of expectations, judgments, and rigid ideas that fill our minds and hearts, leaving no room for fresh insight or peace. The Buddha taught that true wisdom arises from the capacity to let go, to empty the cup so it can be filled anew. This is not a one-time act, but a continuous practice, a cycle of release and renewal. In some Zen traditions, monks practice wall-gazing, sitting facing a blank wall for hours, observing thoughts without engagement, allowing them to pass like clouds drifting across the sky. This practice cultivates a mind free from attachment, open and clear. You feel your mind softening, thoughts arising and dissolving without resistance, like waves gently folding back into the sea. The practice of letting go becomes less a struggle and more a natural flow. Zen masters might ask, what remains when you let go of all you think you know? Who are you beneath your stories and beliefs? You breathe deeply, sensing a spaciousness within a quiet sanctuary that has always been present beneath the surface noise. Humility, you realize, is the doorway to this sanctuary. It is the strength to acknowledge impermanence, to embrace uncertainty, and to open fully to life as it is. The teacup's emptiness is not absence, but the fertile ground for compassion, understanding, and peace. As you sit, you feel a gentle gratitude for this lesson, a soft unfolding that will accompany you beyond this moment. The journey with the empty teacup continues a humble, steady path toward awakening. Section 7. Humble Actions. Finding wisdom in simple daily acts. The soft glow of candlelight flickers gently across the room as you sit quietly with the empty teacup before you. The warmth of the flame contrasts with the coolness of the cup's empty interior, a delicate balance, reminding you of the interplay between fullness and emptiness in your own mind. The Buddha taught that humility arises when we recognize the limits of our knowledge and open ourselves to learning with an unassuming heart. True strength is found not in arrogance or certainty, but in gentle openness, the willingness to admit what we don't know. You imagine the monks who practice empty cup meditation, returning day after day to the practice of releasing their mental clutter and preconceived notions, just as a teacup must be emptied before fresh tea can be poured. This humility is not defeat, but a courageous surrender, a letting go of ego and defense so that wisdom can flow freely. As you breathe deeply, you feel the heaviness of pride and resistance begin to lift, replaced by a gentle spaciousness that invites peace. Zen masters might ask, how often do you carry a full cup of worries, judgments, or fears, leaving no space for calm or joy? You think of your daily life, the rush of thoughts, the urge to control outcomes, the habit of defending yourself. The empty teacup asks you to pause, to soften, to be still. The room feels alive with quiet presence. Each breath a wave washing over the shore of your mind, clearing away debris. You see now that humility is a practice, not a destination. It unfolds moment by moment as you choose to empty your cup again and again. This ongoing openness allows for deeper connection, not only to others, but to yourself. The empty teacup reflects this delicate balance, sturdy enough to hold, yet willing to be emptied and refilled. You close your eyes and rest in this awareness, feeling your heart soften with gentle acceptance. Your journey with the empty teacup continues an ever-unfolding path of humility, learning, and peace. Section 8. Returning to emptiness. Embracing the cycle of emptying and renewal for peace. The room has grown quieter now, the candlelight softening into a gentle glow that wraps you in warmth. The empty teacup before you rests peacefully, a symbol of openness and humility that invites you to journey deeper within. The Buddha taught that embracing emptiness is not about loss, but liberation, the freedom found when we let go of attachments, judgments, and the endless chase for certainty. You imagine the teacup empty, yet full of potential, a vessel ready to receive whatever life offers without resistance. In Zen practice, emptiness is a fertile ground where insight and compassion arise naturally. It's the space where the self dissolves and you rest in pure presence. Some monks practice sitting in stillness, observing the dance of thoughts without grasping or pushing away. This mindful witnessing cultivates a heart that is soft, wide, and free. Zen masters might ask, when the cup is empty, what new wisdom flows? In who are you beneath your stories and beliefs? You breathe slowly, feeling the gentle unfolding of peace as your mind softens and your heart opens. Humility reveals itself as the courage to be vulnerable, the strength to accept impermanence, and the grace to welcome each moment as it is. The empty teacup teaches you that peace arises not from fullness, but from the willingness to be empty and open. You sit in quiet gratitude, knowing this path of humility and presence will guide you long after this moment. And as your breath grows softer, you rest deeply in the stillness, whole, complete, and free. Story 5. Zen Stories for Sleep. Vertical bar. The Lantern by the Sea. A Tale of Gentle Awareness. Section 1. The Lantern's Glow. Discovering quiet presence through the soft light by the sea. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a quiet sea, the sky a soft wash of twilight hues, and a single lantern glowing softly on the shore. The gentle sound of waves lapping at the sand blends with the distant call of seabirds settling in for the night. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stand barefoot on the cool sand, feeling its fine grains slip gently between your toes. The salty sea air brushes your skin, carrying the faint scent of seaweed and ocean spray. You hear the rhythmic whisper of the waves, their rise and fall, a steady pulse echoing your own breath. Before you, a lantern flickers softly, its flame dancing in the gentle evening breeze. The lantern's glow casts a circle of warm light, illuminating the stones nearby and reflecting in the wet sand like tiny stars caught between earth and sea. The Buddha taught that true awareness begins with presence, being fully here in this moment, without distraction or resistance. Let that sink in. The lantern is not rushing to brighten the whole world. It simply holds its small light steadily exactly where it is. You take a slow breath in, feeling the cool air fill your lungs, and exhale with the sound of the waves. The lantern's flame wavers briefly, then steadies again, as if teaching you the dance between vulnerability and resilience. Some monks practice a form of meditation by the sea, sitting quietly with the lantern's light as a focus. They learn that even in darkness, a small light can guide the way, not by overpowering the night, but by simply being. Zen masters might ask, what if your awareness could be like this lantern, steady, gentle, and present, even amid the restless tides of your thoughts? You close your eyes and listen deeply to the sea's rhythm. With every breath, you feel yourself becoming more grounded, more centered. The gentle rocking of the waves seems to cradle your heart. The sea and the lantern together remind you that calm is not about stopping the world, but about finding stillness within it. You open your eyes again to the lantern's steady glow, and with it, a quiet promise. Peace is here always has been waiting for you to notice. Section 2. The Whispering Waves. Listening deeply to the rhythms of the ocean and mind. You begin to walk slowly along the shoreline, the sand cool and soft beneath your bare feet. Each step leaves a gentle imprint that the tide soon erases, a quiet reminder of life's transient nature. The sea breeze carries the subtle scent of salt and seagrass, mingling with the fading warmth of the day. Above, the sky shifts from delicate pinks and golds into deeper shades of indigo, the first stars beginning to glimmer faintly. The waves whisper softly as they curl onto the shore, each one unique, yet part of an endless rhythm. You watch the water's edge where foam and sand meet in a fleeting embrace, a delicate dance that exists only for moments before retreating. It's a lesson in impermanence, showing you how everything changes, yet continues in flow. The Buddha taught that clinging to permanence is the root of suffering. When we resist the natural change in life, we create inner tension and unrest. Let this teaching settle gently in your heart. Like the waves, your thoughts and feelings arise and fall away, always moving, never static. You pause to listen more deeply, hearing not only the sounds of the ocean, but also the spaces between. The silence there is not empty, but alive, a soft presence that holds the moment fully. Some Zen practitioners call this listening beyond sound, a practice of opening to the world without judgment or distraction. There's a story of a monk who spent hours sitting by the sea, learning to listen to its rhythms. He found that by surrendering to the ebb and flow, he could release his worries and find peace within the ceaseless change. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you allowed yourself to flow like the tide, embracing change rather than resisting it? How would your heart feel if you met each moment with gentle acceptance? You breathe in deeply, feeling the cool ocean air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, letting go of tension and expectation. The rhythm of the waves becomes your own, steady and soothing. As the stars multiply overhead, the sea seems to hold a quiet magic, the vastness reflecting the openness growing inside you. You realize peace is not a distant shore, but the very movement of the tide itself. The gentle sound of the waves and the soft glow of the lantern ahead invite you to continue this journey, step by mindful step into deeper awareness. Section 3. Footsteps on sand. Walking gently in awareness step by mindful step. You continue walking along the shoreline, your feet sinking softly into the damp sand where the waves have just retreated. The air carries a crispness that mingles with the lingering warmth of the day, and you notice how the sea breeze caresses your skin like a gentle whisper. Overhead, the sky deepens to a rich navy studded with countless stars that seem to pulse softly like the flicker of distant lanterns guiding travelers home. Each breath you take syncs with the rhythm of the waves, their steady rise and fall mirroring the in and out of your lungs. The sea's endless movement becomes a living meditation, inviting you to embrace the flow of impermanence and presence. You notice how every wave is unique, some small and timid, others bold and crashing, yet all parts of the same vast ocean dance. The Buddha taught that clinging to permanence is the root of suffering. The ocean teaches you this truth daily. It is always changing, never the same water twice. When you try to hold on to a moment, a feeling or a thought, it slips away just as easily as the waves retreating into the vastness. There is a Zen story of a master who said life is like the ocean tide. You cannot hold the water, but you can learn to ride the wave. The teaching isn't to resist change, but to find harmony with it. You pause and listen closely not only to the waves, but to the silence that fills the spaces between. This silence is alive, a vast openness that cradles you gently. Some monks practice listening to the wind and water, a meditation where the ordinary sounds of nature become gateways to deep stillness and insight. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you stopped resisting the currents within your mind and simply allowed them to flow? How would your experience of life shift if you met each moment with gentle awareness instead of struggle? As you breathe slowly, you feel the tension in your shoulders and jaw dissolve. The ocean's pulse becomes your own heartbeat, steady, calm, continuous. Above, a shooting star streaks silently across the night sky, a fleeting brilliance that fades into darkness. You smile softly, reminded that impermanence carries its own beauty. The lantern on the shore flickers in the breeze, its warm light steady and reassuring. It seems to say, in this ever-changing world, there is a light within you that can remain calm, gentle, and awake. With renewed calm, you take another step, feeling the earth beneath your feet and the vastness of the sky above. You realize peace is not a destination, but a path, one that unfolds naturally when you learn to listen deeply, move gently, and rest fully in the present. The sea, the stars, and the lantern become your companions in this quiet journey, guiding you softly into a night filled with gentle awareness and calm. Section 4. The Seagull's Flight. Embracing freedom and surrender in life's unfolding. The shore curves gently ahead, and you find a place to pause where the sand meets a cluster of smooth stones worn by countless tides. You sit down, feeling the coolness of the rocks beneath you grounding your body as your eyes follow the sea's endless dance. The waves roll in rhythmically, their crests catching the faint moonlight and scattering silver flecks across the surface. Each wave rises, curls, and falls away, giving way to the next in a seamless flow. You notice how the ocean never holds onto a single shape or moment, ever changing yet always whole. The Buddha taught that life is like water fluid, adaptable and impermanent. To suffer is to cling to the illusion of permanence, resisting the natural flow. Let this teaching settle like a calm tide within you, as you watch a school of small fish dart through the shallows, moving as one, graceful and free. Their unity and movement remind you that connection and change coexist, that life's currents guide us in ways both seen and unseen. You dip your fingers lightly into the water, feeling the coolness slip through your touch. No matter how tightly you grasp, it cannot be held. Yet, the water's presence remains flowing, nourishing, alive. Some Zen monks practice water meditation, immersing themselves fully in the present moment by observing water's qualities. This practice invites surrender to change and cultivates a heart that is open and receptive. Zen masters might ask, can you be like the water, yielding persistent and embracing the path that life carves for you without resistance? You inhale deeply, sensing your breath align with the ocean's pulse. Exhale slowly, releasing tension and opening to the vastness within. The moon rises higher, casting a soft glow that lights your path and illuminates your inner landscape. You feel the peaceful embrace of the sea, its eternal flow, reflecting the endless potential of your own being. As you rise and continue your walk, the sound of the waves lingers in your ears, a soothing reminder that peace arises not from holding still, but from moving gently with the currents of change. Section 5. The Evening Tide. Reflecting on impermanence through the ebb and flow of the sea. You continue your slow walk along the shoreline, the sand beneath your feet now damp and cool as the tide gently kisses the beach. The moonlight dances on the water's surface, casting shimmering reflections that flicker like lanterns floating in the dark sea. The air is thick with the scent of salt and seaweed, mingling with the quiet hum of the waves. Ahead, the path curves toward a small, tranquil Zen garden nestled beside the shore. You step carefully into the garden, where raked white sand forms delicate patterns around carefully placed stones. The lines swirl and flow like waves themselves, inviting you to observe both the simplicity and depth of this landscape. The Buddha taught that true mindfulness comes from engaging fully with each moment, no matter how ordinary it may seem. Here, in the rhythm of the raked sand, you find a metaphor for life's impermanence and continual renewal. You watch as a monk moves slowly through the garden, carrying a wooden rake. With steady, deliberate strokes, he traces new patterns in the sand, erasing the old and creating fresh forms. There is a graceful acceptance in his work, a knowing that beauty exists not in permanence, but in the process itself. This act of raking is more than a chore. It is a moving meditation, a lesson in letting go and embracing change. No pattern is meant to last. Each is a fleeting expression of presence. You run your fingers lightly over the sand's surface, feeling its cool texture and the softness of the curves. The garden becomes a sanctuary where the mind can rest unburdened by attachment or expectation. Zen masters sometimes teach that life is like this garden, constantly reshaped by forces beyond our control. The art is to participate with grace, to welcome each new pattern without clinging to what is past. You breathe in the salty air, feeling a deep sense of peace growing within you. The soft sound of the rake moving through sand becomes a lullaby for your restless thoughts. A question arises quietly in your mind. What if you could live each day with the same gentle awareness, creating and releasing without fear or resistance? The garden holds its silence, offering space for you to listen, to breathe, and to simply be. As you rise to leave, the moonlight seems to soften, wrapping the garden in a tender glow, a reminder that impermanence is not loss, but the rhythm of life itself. Section 6. The Keeper's Vigil. A story of patience, care, and unwavering attention. The night deepens as you step away from the garden, the moon now casting a gentle silver light over the shoreline. You walk slowly along the water's edge, feeling the cool sea spray lightly kiss your skin. The waves continue their timeless dance, rolling in, retreating, and whispering secrets only the sea knows. The lantern you passed earlier glows softly in the distance, its flame steady despite the gentle breeze. Its light is small but persistent, a beacon of calm in the vast darkness. You pause to watch it flicker, noticing how the flame bends and sways, never exactly the same from one moment to the next, yet always there. The Buddha taught that all things are impermanent, constantly arising and passing away. Like the lantern's flame, life's moments are transient, and peace comes when we accept this flow rather than resist it. Let that thought settle gently within you. You inhale deeply, feeling the ocean air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, releasing any tension that clings to your body. The rhythm of your breath seems to synchronize with the flickering flame and the ebbing tide. Each movement an echo of the other. There is a Zen story about a lighthouse keeper who tended his light every night. Though the storms raged and the sea roared, the keeper remained vigilant, knowing his steady light guided ships safely through darkness. His dedication was not to the light itself, but to the act of care, the patient, unwavering attention that brought safety. You imagine yourself as that keeper, your heart a lantern by the seas, steady and awake, even when the world feels uncertain or overwhelming. Some monks practice mindfulness by focusing on a single candle flame, learning to observe without judgment or distraction. This simple practice cultivates deep awareness and acceptance of change. Zen masters might ask, how steady is your inner light? Can it remain calm amidst the storms of life? You take another slow breath and feel a soft warmth spreading through your chest. A quiet reassurance that peace is always within reach. As you resume walking along the shore, the lantern's glow fades gently into the distance. Yet the light it offered remains a subtle echo in your heart. The sea continues its song, the night its embrace, and you move forward, carrying the lantern's gentle awareness with you. Section 7. The lantern's flicker, finding steadiness amid uncertainty and change. The shoreline curves gently beneath the moonlit sky, guiding your footsteps as you follow the lantern's fading glow from afar. The cool night air is filled with the quiet symphony of the sea, whispers of waves, the soft rustle of distant grasses, and the occasional call of a lone seabird returning to rest. You pause at a weathered wooden gate, standing where the garden meets the wild expanse beyond. The gate is simple, yet sturdy, worn smooth by countless hands and years of salty winds. Its hinges creak softly as it swings open, a gentle invitation to cross a threshold, not just in space, but in your own journey. The Buddha taught that life is a series of transitions, moments of crossing from one state to another. Clinging to what is familiar can cause suffering, but embracing change with an open heart brings liberation. You reach out your hand, brushing the gate's cool wood. The texture grounds you in the present, reminding you that every step forward requires both courage and surrender. The monk beside you stands silently, eyes closed, hands folded gently before him. He breathes deeply, embodying patience and acceptance. His stillness invites you to reflect. What gates have you been hesitant to open? What changes are waiting for you beyond? There is a Zen story of a student who asked his master, "How do I know when I'm ready to cross the gate?" The master smiled and said, "The moment you lift your foot, you're already on the path." You take a breath and feel the subtle shift within, the letting go of fear, the softening of resistance. With steady calm, you step through the gate, entering a space both unknown and familiar. Zen masters might ask, when you cross your own gates of change, who are you leaving behind and who are you becoming? The night sky above seems to watch with gentle stars, as if witnessing your passage and blessing your journey. The path beyond is softly lit by moonlight and the fading glow of the lantern, inviting you onward, deeper into stillness and awareness. You walk slowly, feeling each footstep a meditation in itself, a rhythm of arrival and release. As you move forward, you carry with you the wisdom of the gate, that peace comes when we embrace the flow of life's transitions with open, humble hearts. Section 8. The silent shore. Resting in stillness, the final embrace of peaceful awareness. The path beyond the gate unfolds before you like a quiet promise. Each step you take is slow and deliberate, your feet sinking gently into the soft earth, cushioned by fallen leaves and moss. The night air is cool and crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and salt from the nearby sea. Above you, the sky stretches vast and dark, dotted with countless stars that shimmer softly like distant lanterns. You find a quiet clearing beneath a tall, ancient pine tree. Its gnarled branches stretch wide, cradling the night sky like a protective canopy. You settle onto a bed of moss at its base, feeling the cool softness beneath you and the steady heartbeat of the earth supporting your body. You close your eyes, drawing your attention inward. In this stillness, you begin to sense the gentle rhythm of your breath, the slow rise and fall, the ebb and flow, like the tide caressing the shore. You become aware of the space between each inhale and exhale, a quiet pause that holds infinite peace. This is the essence of mindful presence, being fully here, completely alive in the moment, without distraction. The Buddha taught that true peace is found not in escaping the world, but in embracing its constant change with a calm and open heart. This peace arises when we learn to rest in the silent awareness that underlies all experience. Some Zen practitioners call this just sitting, or shikantaza, a meditation of pure presence without effort or striving. In this practice, you do not try to control or judge your thoughts. Instead, you allow them to come and go, like waves returning gently to the quiet center again and again. You listen to the sounds of the night, the rustling of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the whisper of the breeze weaving through the branches. These sounds are not interruptions, but invitations to deepen your presence, to become one with the stillness that surrounds and fills you. Zen masters might ask, when all footsteps have faded and all movement ceases, what remains? Who is the silent witness resting beneath the waves of thought and feeling? You breathe slowly, feeling a soft warmth spread through your chest, a gentle light of awareness that neither clings nor resists, but simply is. In this vast openness, you find a profound sense of home and belonging. As you rest beneath the pine, the night sky seems to fold around you like a soft embrace. The distant lantern by the sea glows faintly, a steady beacon of gentle awareness guiding you ever deeper into peace. You are here now, whole and complete. Story 6. Buddhist Teachings for Relaxation. Vertical Bar. The Bamboo Forest. Walking Mindfully in Life's Labyrinth. Section 1. The Forest Path. Beginning the journey with mindful steps amid towering bamboo. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine yourself stepping softly into a bamboo forest, the sunlight filtering through tall, slender stalks, casting dancing shadows on the forest floor. The air is fresh, carrying the earthy scent of moss and leaves, and you hear the gentle rustling of bamboo leaves as the wind whispers through them, natural lullaby, inviting calm. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You begin your walk along a narrow path winding through the bamboo forest. Each step feels intentional, grounded. You notice the subtle crunch of dry leaves beneath your feet and the softness of the earth moist from an earlier rain. The bamboo stalks stand tall and straight, their smooth green surfaces gleaming in the dappled sunlight. The forest feels alive, but serene. A place where time slows and the mind can settle. The Buddha taught that mindfulness, the practice of being fully present in each moment, leads to liberation from suffering. Let that thought sink in as you walk around, you feeling the rhythm of your footsteps sinking gently with your breath. A breeze stirs the bamboo leaves above, creating a soothing rustle like the whispered secrets of the forest. This sound draws your attention inward, inviting you to listen deeply, not just to the external world, but to the quiet space within. Some monks practice walking meditation in forests just like this, taking each step with full awareness. They don't rush to reach a destination. Instead, the journey itself becomes the practice, a living meditation in motion. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you walked through your own life as mindfully as you do this forest path? Could each step become a moment of calm, a chance to awaken to what is? You inhale deeply, feeling the cool, fresh air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, releasing tension you didn't know you were holding. As you walk, your senses awaken. You notice the subtle variations in bamboo, the way some stalks are tall and slender, others thicker and more weathered. The play of sunlight and shadow creates patterns that shift with the breeze, reminding you of life's constant change. This forest is a labyrinth, not in the sense of confusion, but as a metaphor for life's twists and turns. The path may curve unexpectedly, and you might encounter obstacles or surprises, but walking mindfully allows you to navigate with calm and clarity. The bamboo, resilient and flexible, bends, but does not break. It teaches you that strength lies not in rigidity, but in openness and adaptability. With each step, you feel more grounded, more connected to the present. The worries and distractions of the outside world begin to fade, replaced by a gentle peace. The forest's whispers remind you you are exactly where you need to be, and every step you take is part of your unfolding journey. Section 2. Listening to the leaves. Cultivating deep awareness through the sound of rustling bamboo leaves. You continue along the winding path, the bamboo towering around you like silent sentinels. Their tall, slender stalks sway gently with the breeze, creating a rhythmic rustling that fills the air with soft, soothing sounds. Each movement of the leaves seems to echo a gentle message, a reminder to slow down and listen. The Buddha taught that true awareness arises when we cultivate deep listening, not just hearing sounds, but fully embracing the experience of presence. Let this sink in as you let your attention rest on the whispering leaves above. You pause beneath a particularly dense cluster of bamboo. The light filters through in delicate beams, spotlighting patches of the mossy ground beneath your feet. The interplay of light and shadow shifts continually, a living tapestry of nature's rhythms. You notice how the sound of the rustling leaves varies, sometimes soft and fleeting, sometimes stronger and more insistent, yet always fleeting and alive. It's as if the forest breathes with you, inviting you into its flow. Some Zen monks practice this, listening to the leaves as a form of meditation. Sitting silently, they open their awareness to the smallest sounds, discovering how the mind can quiet and expand at the same time. You breathe in deeply, feeling the fresh forest air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, releasing the tightness in your shoulders. The leaves above continue their whispering dance, a natural lullaby that eases the mind. Zen masters might ask, what would happen if you allowed yourself to truly listen, not just to sounds, but to the deeper messages beneath? Could you find a new rhythm in the noise of your own life? You begin to walk again, each step deliberate and gentle. The path ahead twists and turns like a labyrinth, yet the rustling leaves guide you, their soft murmur a steady companion. You feel the flexibility of bamboo resonate within you, its ability to bend without breaking, to move gracefully with the wind. This resilience inspires you to approach life's uncertainties with calm adaptability. The forest's natural symphony blends with your breath and heartbeat, weaving a sense of connection and peace. As you move deeper, You sense that the labyrinth of life is not something to fear, but a path to walk with mindful curiosity and open-heartedness. The bamboo's gentle presence reminds you that even amid complexity and change, there is always a place of calm to return to. Section 3. The Labyrinth's Turns. Embracing life's uncertainties by walking the forest's winding paths. You follow the winding path deeper into the bamboo forest, each step feeling more mindful and grounded than the last. The tall stalks arch overhead, forming a natural cathedral where light and shadow weave together in a delicate dance. The forest floor beneath your feet is soft with fallen leaves and patches of moss cushioning your every step. You pause to listen. Really listen to the world around you. The bamboo leaves whisper secrets to one another in the gentle breeze, their rustling creating a calming rhythm that seems to pulse with the beat of your heart. A distant bird calls softly its song, weaving into the chorus of the forest. The Buddha taught that our minds are often like wild horses rushing in many directions, at once causing stress and distraction. Mindfulness is the gentle reins that bring us back to the present moment, the here and now. As you walk, you notice how the bamboo bends gracefully in the wind, never resisting, but always resilient. This flexibility is a powerful lesson. Strength does not lie in stiffness, but in the ability to adapt and flow with life's challenges. There is a lesser-known Zen practice where monks walk through a labyrinthine bamboo grove, using the twists and turns to symbolize the complexity of life's path. Rather than seeking to escape or conquer the maze, they practice presence and patience, embracing uncertainty with openness. You take a slow breath and wonder, what if you approached your own life's labyrinth with the same gentle awareness? What if each twist and turn was an opportunity rather than an obstacle? Zen masters might ask, when lost in life's maze, how do you find your way back to stillness? As you continue, the forest light shifts, filtering through the leaves in dappled patterns. Shadows move with you, reminding you that light and darkness coexist, each essential and transient. Your steps slow, your breath deepens, and you find a rhythm, steady calm, unhurried. The bamboo around you stands tall yet humble, reminding you to cultivate both inner strength and quiet humility. With each mindful step, you become more aware of the intricate web of life surrounding you and the interconnectedness that sustains it. You realize that walking mindfully through life's labyrinth is not about reaching a destination, but about being fully present in each moment, no matter how uncertain the path. Section 4. Shadow and Light. Finding balance through noticing shifting patterns of shade and sun. The light shifts softly as you move deeper into the bamboo forest, the canopy above, filtering the sunlight into a mosaic of warm gold and cool green. The air feels alive with gentle energy, the faint scent of earth, and growing things mingles with the soft rustling of leaves stirred by an ever-present breeze. You walk with calm intention, each step a deliberate act of presence. The path narrows and twists, weaving through thick clusters of bamboo stalks that sway rhythmically, their movement almost like a dance guided by the wind. The Buddha taught that life is much like a labyrinth full of unexpected turns, dead ends, and hidden openings. To navigate it requires mindfulness, not just of the path ahead, but of the moment beneath your feet. You feel the texture of the path changing beneath your soles. Soft moss here, smooth pebbles there, and patches of leaf litter that cushion your steps. Each sensation draws you deeper into the experience of the forest, pulling your attention away from worries and into the richness of now. Zen masters speak often about the interplay of shadow and light, the dance between clarity and obscurity, certainty and doubt. As the sunlight filters through the leaves, it casts some shifting shadows that paint the ground in intricate patterns. The forest becomes a living canvas, constantly changing and reminding you of impermanence. You pause beneath a particularly grand bamboo stalk, its height and strength a quiet testament to resilience. You run your fingers along its smooth surface and feel the coolness and strength beneath your touch. The bamboo teaches a vital lesson. True strength is flexible, rooted, yet yielding. It bends with the wind, but does not break, allowing it to survive storms and seasons alike. In a quieter corner of the forest, you notice a solitary monk seated cross-legged on a mossy stone. His eyes are closed, his face serene. He's practicing wall-gazing, a Zen meditation where the practitioner simply watches thoughts and sensations arise and pass away without attachment. Some monks spend hours in this practice, cultivating deep stillness amid the flow of mind. It's a powerful reminder that awareness itself is a stable presence, even as life circumstances change. Zen masters might ask, how can you cultivate such stillness within, even when your surroundings feel like a labyrinth? You take a long, slow breath, feeling the air fill your lungs, and exhale fully, releasing tension. The forest around you seems to breathe with you, a living rhythm of presence and change. As you rise to continue your walk, you carry with you the lessons of shadow and light, resilience and flexibility, stillness and movement. The bamboo forest holds you, gently guiding you to walk mindfully through the labyrinth of life with grace and openness. Section 5. The Silent Guide. Learning from a quiet monk who walks without haste or distraction. As you continue your journey through the bamboo forest, you find yourself moving with greater ease and awareness. The path beneath your feet winds unpredictably, sometimes opening into sunlit clearings, and other times narrowing into shaded corridors where the bamboo stalks stand like silent sentinels. The forest feels alive, breathing alongside you, every rustle of leaves and whisper of the wind, a reminder of the world's constant motion and change. The Buddha taught that life is impermanent, a flowing river that never holds the same water twice. Suffering arises when we cling to permanence or resist the natural ebb and flow of existence. Walking mindfully through this bamboo labyrinth invites you to embody that teaching, to move with the changing currents rather than against them. You pause near a cluster of slender bamboo shoots, their vibrant green contrasting with the rich earth beneath. The stalks sway gently, yielding to the breeze without breaking. Their resilience comes from flexibility, an ability to bend in response to forces beyond their control. You feel this lesson resonate within you. Strength lies not in rigidity, but in the grace of adaptation. There's a Zen story about a master who was asked how to cultivate strength in the face of hardship. He replied, "Be like bamboo, rooted yet flexible, able to sway with the wind without losing your core." You hold this image in your mind as you continue walking. In some Zen traditions, monks practice mindful walking by focusing their attention completely on the sensation of each step. The contact of their feet with the earth, the movement of their bodies through space. This practice transforms even the simplest act into a profound meditation, cultivating presence in motion. Zen masters might ask, how can you bring this mindful attention into your daily life, even amid its twists and turns? What might change if each step you take were an act of conscious awareness rather than hurried distraction? You breathe deeply, feeling the cool forest air fill your lungs, and then release slowly, letting go of tension and rushing thoughts. The dappled light through the bamboo canopy above creates shifting patterns on the ground, reminding you again of life's continual flux. You notice a small stream nearby, its clear water bubbling softly over smooth stones. You step closer, cupping some water in your hands and feeling its coolness slip through your fingers. The water flows freely, moving around obstacles without hesitation, an embodiment of ease and persistence. The forest's labyrinth, with its winding paths and living lessons, becomes a metaphor for your inner journey. Each bend invites curiosity rather than fear. Each moment an opportunity to practice gentleness with yourself. As you walk on the path gradually leads you toward the forest's edge, where light begins to spill more freely and the sounds of the wider world seep in. You carry with you a growing sense of peace, a calm rooted not in control, but in acceptance and mindful presence. The bamboo, the stream, the shifting light and shadow, they are your companions on this path. Each whispering a quiet teaching walk, gently breathe deeply and trust in the flow of life. Section 6. The bamboo's strength. Discovering resilience in flexibility and rootedness. As you step beyond the heart of the bamboo forest, the canopy begins to thin, allowing more sunlight to filter through. The golden rays fall softly on your skin, warming your shoulders as the gentle breeze carries the fresh scents of earth and greenery. The forest seems to breathe alongside you, every leaf and stalk participating in the quiet rhythm of life. The path before you forks two trails, twisting in different directions. You pause, sensing the weight of choice, not just here in the forest, but in life itself. This moment feels like a crossroads, an invitation to practice mindfulness in decision and acceptance. The Buddha taught that indecision and clinging to certainty often cause suffering. True freedom arises when we embrace uncertainty with an open heart and a clear mind. Let this teaching settle gently within you as you consider your next step. There's a Zen story about a monk who wandered a labyrinth, uncertain which path to take. Rather than rushing, he stopped and simply listened to the sounds of the forest, to the beating of his own heart. In stillness, clarity arose, and he moved forward with calm confidence. You close your eyes briefly, tuning into your breath. The cool air fills your lungs and flows out slowly, carrying away tension and doubt. The gentle rustle of bamboo leaves overhead reminds you to trust the process, to embrace the journey, rather than fixate on the destination. Some monks practice walking meditation precisely to cultivate such presence in moments of choice, learning to move with intention and awareness even amid uncertainty. Zen masters might ask, how can you meet life's crossroads without fear? What wisdom arises when you surrender the need for control? You open your eyes and take the path to the right, feeling the earth firm beneath your feet. With each step, you remind yourself that mindfulness is not about perfection, but presence, the simple act of being here now. The sun's warmth deepens as you move forward, and you notice the forest opening into a serene clearing, filled with soft moss and wildflowers. The air hums with life, a gentle sanctuary inviting rest and reflection. As you sit among the blooms, you feel a sense of renewal, a deep breath taken after a long journey. The labyrinth of bamboo has led you not just through the forest, but inward, teaching you resilience, patience, and the gentle art of mindful living. The lessons of the bamboo forest, its strength and flexibility, its invitation to listen and adapt, linger in your heart. You know that like the forest, your path will twist and turn, but with mindfulness, each step is a moment of peace. Section 7. Crossroads within. Facing inner choices with calm clarity and gentle acceptance. The clearing slowly fades behind you as the bamboo forest once again envelops your path. The soft crunch of fallen leaves and twigs underfoot blends with the whisper of the wind moving through the tall stalks. Shadows lengthen as the sun dips lower, painting the forest in warm hues of amber and gold. This hour of transition holds a quiet magic between day and night, between movement and stillness. You walk steadily but without haste, allowing your breath and steps to sink in a gentle rhythm. The bamboo here grows thicker, more clustered, creating a natural labyrinth that invites both curiosity and calm. The Buddha taught that embracing life's complexities with mindful attention can transform confusion into clarity This labyrinth, with its winding paths and hidden turns, mirrors the twists and challenges of our inner landscape. Walking mindfully means accepting uncertainty, meeting each moment without judgment, and moving forward with gentle awareness. You pause at a fork in the path, the bamboo bending slightly as if bowing in respect to your choice. Here the labyrinth asks you to be present, to feel your feet, to listen to your heart, and to trust the unfolding way. There's a Zen tale of a monk lost in a forest labyrinth. Rather than struggling to find an exit, he sat down and simply breathed. In that surrender, the path revealed itself clearly, and he walked out with ease. Some Zen practitioners use labyrinth walking as a meditation, focusing fully on each step, while letting go of the need to control the outcome. This practice reveals the beauty of presence amid uncertainty. Zen masters might ask, how do you respond when faced with life's labyrinthine moments? Can you rest in the question rather than rushing for answers? You breathe deeply, feeling the cool forest air fill your lungs, and exhale with release. Your mind softens, and you notice a subtle shift. A quiet opening, a space of spaciousness within. The bamboo, tall and unwavering, reminds you to remain rooted even as the path twists unexpectedly. It teaches resilience, grounded in flexibility and humility. As you navigate the forest's maze, each step becomes an opportunity to practice kindness toward yourself. A gentle reminder that the journey itself is the destination. With renewed calm, you continue walking, the sound of the wind and the rustling leaves, a steady companion. The forest's labyrinth, once daunting, now feels like a sacred space, a place of growth, discovery, and mindful presence. You carry this peaceful awareness with you, knowing that no matter where life's path leads, you can walk it with grace and gentle attention. Section 8. Emerging from the grove. Returning from the labyrinth with renewed peace and insight. The bamboo forest begins to thin as you approach its edge, where the towering stalks give way to open sky and the gentle hum of distant life beyond the grove. The scent of earth and greenery lingers, mingling with the fresh breeze that carries a whisper of freedom. The journey through the labyrinth has brought you here not to an ending, but to a new beginning. You find a quiet spot near a small stream, its water clear and cool as it winds its way through smooth stones and fallen leaves. Sitting beside it, you let your hands rest gently on your knees, feeling the rhythm of your breath as it rises and falls in harmony with the flowing water. The Buddha taught that true peace comes from embracing the impermanence and interconnectedness of all things, just as the stream flows without resistance, shaping its path around obstacles. So too does life move continuously, inviting us to release control and find ease within change. You watch the water ripple softly as a leaf drifts downstream, carried by the current. The leaf's journey reminds you that surrender is not loss, but a graceful dance with life's unfolding, each moment like the leaf moves naturally toward what comes next. There is a quiet power in this realization, a gentle acceptance that frees the heart from fear and struggle. Some monks meditate by streams precisely to deepen this understanding, allowing the mind to settle into the natural flow rather than fighting against it. Zen masters might ask, how can you cultivate a heart as fluid and accepting as this flowing stream? What might arise if you embraced life's changes with openness and trust? You breathe deeply, feeling the cool air fill your lungs and the soothing energy of the forest surround you. The sounds of the bamboo rustling, the stream murmuring, and the distant call of a bird weave together in a calming symphony. As night gently falls, stars begin to emerge, twinkling softly above the canopy. The labyrinth of bamboo behind you seems less a maze and more a sanctuary, a place of transformation, where you've learned to walk mindfully, carrying the teachings of resilience, presence, and gentle awareness. You rise slowly, feeling grounded and at peace, The path ahead is open, inviting you to step forward with calm confidence and a heart open to whatever lies beyond. The bamboo forest's lessons remain with you. Strength and flexibility, clarity through stillness and grace in the journey. With each mindful step, you move closer to the deeper peace that dwells within a light, steady and unwavering, like a lantern by the sea. Story 7. The Path to Inner Peace. Vertical bar, the fisherman's net. Finding clarity in a tangled mind section. 1. The tangled net. Exploring how the mind becomes caught in patterns and distractions. Hey guys, tonight we're going to explore some timeless Zen stories that have helped people find peace and relaxation for centuries. If your mind's been racing all day, these tales might gently pull you back to the stillness waiting within. Imagine yourself beside a quiet sea at dawn, the cool breeze carrying the scent of salt and fresh water. You hear the gentle lapping of waves, and just ahead, an old fisherman works patiently with his net. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget that calm isn't out there. It's already yours to uncover. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're tuning in, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You sit beside the fisherman as he untangles a large net, his hands moving methodically, coaxing knots apart with quiet patience. The sun begins to rise, spilling gentle golden light across the water, illuminating the intricate mesh of ropes and lines. The net looks complicated and chaotic, at first glance a tangle of threads and knots. It reminds you of your own mind, busy, cluttered, and tangled with thoughts, worries, and distractions. Sometimes it feels impossible to find clarity. The Buddha taught that clinging to thoughts and emotions causes suffering, like holding tightly to a tangled net that only traps and constrains you. Let that sink in for a moment. The fisherman's work is a lesson in patience and awareness. Rather than pulling hard or rushing, he works gently, respecting the net's delicate structure. Each knot he loosens brings more freedom, and the net slowly regains its form. You notice how he pauses occasionally, eyes soft, hands, steady breathing in rhythm with the sea's ebb and flow. This mindful attention is a practice in itself, one that you can bring to your own mental knots. Some monks practice a similar patience by sitting quietly and watching their thoughts without judgment. They allow the mind's tangled patterns to unfold naturally, trusting clarity will emerge. Zen masters might ask, what if you approached your tangled mind with the same gentle care as the fisherman's net? Could you find freedom in mindful patience? You take a deep breath, feeling the ocean air fill your lungs, and exhale slowly, releasing tension. The sun rises higher, and with it a sense of calm begins to settle within you. The fisherman smiles quietly, a knowing look in his eyes, as if sharing a silent invitation. The path to inner peace begins with gentle attention to the present moment. You feel ready to begin untangling your own mind, one thread at a time. Section 2. Untangling threads. Learning to notice thoughts without judgment or resistance. You watch as the fisherman continues his slow, deliberate work, fingers tracing the tangled knots with care. Each loop unwound is a small victory, a step toward restoring the net's intended form. The net's complexity no longer overwhelms you. Instead, it becomes a map of patience and presence. The mind, much like this net, often becomes ensnared in patterns, loops of worry, strands of unfinished thoughts, and knots of confusion. Trying to force clarity only tightens these tangles, much like yanking harshly on a rope. Only pulls knots tighter. But gentle observation and patient untangling allow insight to emerge. The Buddha taught that awareness, the simple act of noticing without resistance, is the key to untangling the mind. Let that truth settle as you watch the fisherman's calm attention. His work isn't about control, but about understanding the nature of the net. You feel your breath slow and deepen as you begin to practice this awareness in your own mind. Thoughts arise, some familiar, others fleeting, but you don't grasp or push them away. Instead, you observe their texture and movement, like the fisherman tracing the threads with his fingertips. This mindful noticing is a subtle but powerful Zen practice. Some monks sit for hours, simply watching the flow of thoughts, learning to let them unravel naturally. It's not about stopping the mind, but about creating space where knots can loosen on their own. Zen masters might ask, how does your mind respond when you shift from trying to fix your thoughts to simply observing them with patience? What new clarity might arise from this gentle awareness? You feel the tension in your shoulders ease, the grip of anxiety loosen. The ocean's soft murmur mixes with the rhythmic movement of the fisherman's hands, weaving a calming backdrop for your meditation. The fisherman pauses to breathe deeply, looking out over the calm sea. The net in his hands now looks more like a well-crafted tool than a tangle ready to cast again to work effectively. You consider your own mind. What if you treated it like this net, with kindness and patience? What knots might you loosen by simply being present without judgment? As the sun climbs higher, warming your skin, a sense of peace begins to root itself within you, the quiet knowing that clarity emerges from gentle care, not force. The fisherman's eyes meet yours, a subtle smile of encouragement. The path through your tangled thoughts begins with mindful attention, step by patient step. Section 3. The Patient Fisherman. Cultivating patience and calm amidst mental clutter. You continue to sit beside the fisherman, feeling the steady rhythm of his work. The sun climbs higher now, casting a warm golden light over the sea and the weathered net in his hands. The net, once a knotted mess, now reveals its true form, a finely woven tool designed for its purpose. Flexible, yet strong. Your own mind, much like that net, can be unraveled thread by thread with patience and gentle awareness. The Buddha taught that clinging to our thoughts and emotions causes suffering, but when we begin to observe without attachment, the knots begin to loosen naturally. As you watch, the fisherman pauses, his fingers tracing a stubborn knot. Instead of pulling hard, he carefully works the loops apart, understanding the net's delicate balance. His actions embody patience and kindness, a lesson for the restless mind. This kind of gentle patience is a key element of mindfulness practice. Some monks engage in thought-watching, where they simply observe thoughts passing like clouds without judgment or interference. This practice fosters clarity and calm by allowing mental clutter to dissolve on its own. You take a slow breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest align with the soft rhythm of the sea. Your thoughts are still present, but you watch them from a distance like the fisherman watches the net. Zen masters might ask, what happens when you treat your mind as you would this net, with tenderness rather than force? How might your inner landscape shift with such care? The fisherman now picks up a small knife and carefully trims frayed edges, maintaining the net's integrity. This act of tending reminds you that mindfulness also involves gentle maintenance. Caring for your mind and heart regularly to prevent knots from becoming tangled again. You imagine yourself tending to your own mental net daily, offering kindness and attention rather than judgment or frustration. The sea breeze carries a hint of salt and freshness, filling your lungs and calming your spirit. You feel a growing sense of clarity, as if the tangled threads inside are loosening, making room for spaciousness and peace. The fisherman smiles, his eyes reflecting the calm sea. His work is never truly done, but his patience transforms the tangled into the clear, the chaotic into the functional. You realize that your journey is much the same, finding peace through patient, gentle awareness of the mind's movements. With a renewed sense of calm, you prepare to rise. Carrying this lesson forward, clarity is born from kindness and patience, not from force or struggle. Section 4. The clear water. Discovering clarity through mindful observation and presence. The gentle rhythm of the sea and the steady movements of the fisherman have become a part of your breath, your heartbeat, and your presence. You rise slowly from your seat beside the shore, feeling the warm sand between your toes as you begin to walk along the water's edge. Each step is mindful, deliberate, an extension of the calm growing within you. The fisherman's net, now carefully untangled and mended, rests beside him, a symbol of clarity emerging from complexity. This net, once a chaotic tangle of threads, is now a functional, flexible tool, ready to embrace the sea's unpredictability. You realize the net's transformation mirrors the process of your own mind, learning to find clarity amidst the usual noise and confusion. The Buddha taught that the mind often becomes entangled in patterns of clinging and aversion, creating suffering. But with mindful observation, these patterns can be untied one by one, revealing the clarity and calm beneath. Let this teaching settle softly within you as you walk. Ahead, the horizon stretches wide, and open the sky, melting into the sea in soft hues of blues and pinks. The water is calm, the gentle waves whispering secrets of timeless flow and change. You pause to listen, really listen to this natural rhythm, and in doing so, begin to sense the rhythm of your own thoughts. There is a lesser-known Zen story about a fisherman who cast his net into troubled waters, only to find it tangled beyond use. Instead of growing frustrated, he patiently untangled it, learning that haste only tightened the knots. With calm determination, he made the net whole again, ready to serve its purpose. This story reminds you that the tangled mind cannot be forced into clarity. It requires gentle, persistent attention, a compassionate awareness that allows each knot to loosen without resistance. You feel your breath deepen, matching the tide's ebb and flow. Thoughts rise and fall, but you do not chase them. Instead, you watch them pass with curiosity and acceptance. Zen masters might ask, how often do you try to untangle your thoughts by force? What might change if you approached your mind with the same patient care as the fisherman? The sun lowers toward the horizon, casting a warm glow that seems to settle over your whole being. The sea reflects this light, shimmering like a mirror of peace. You begin to walk again, and each step a meditation, a mindful release of tension and distraction. The path ahead is uncertain, but your mind feels lighter, clearer. The fisherman's net is a reminder that clarity is not a destination, but a practice, one of kindness, patience, and steady presence. As the evening breeze brushes your skin, you know that the tangled threads of your mind can be gently unraveled, revealing the vast calm that has always been there beneath. Section 5. Nets and knots. Understanding how attachment weaves confusion and suffering. You continue your walk along the shoreline, the soft hum of waves mingling with the gentle rustle of distant seabirds settling in for the night. The fisherman, now standing beside you, holds the repaired net in his hands, its once tangled strands restored to their flowing design. It is a delicate balance of strength and flexibility, a testament to the patience and care required to maintain clarity. As you watch him prepare to cast the net once more, you feel the deep symbolism of his actions, the casting of the net, a metaphor for the mind reaching out into the vast sea of experience, ready to hold what is necessary while allowing what is unnecessary to slip away. The Buddha taught that our suffering arises when we cling too tightly to thoughts, emotions, and desires, causing the mind to become tangled and restless. The practice of mindfulness is like the fisherman's patient, tending of his net, gently untangling knots, observing without judgment, and letting go of what no longer serves. You feel your own thoughts, sometimes restless, sometimes calm, beginning to align with this mindful rhythm. Instead of fighting the waves of the mind, you learn to float with them, observing the coming and going without attachment. The fisherman slowly casts his net into the shimmering water, watching as it unfolds and sinks beneath the surface. He waits patiently, not rushing, aware that some things cannot be forced. This patience is a powerful lesson. Clarity emerges not by forcing the mind to be still, but by allowing it to settle naturally through kind attention and surrender. Some monks practice a meditation where they imagine their thoughts as fish swimming freely in a vast ocean. Rather than trying to catch or control them, they observe with gentle curiosity, letting each thought come and go like a passing current. Zen masters might ask, what if you treated your thoughts not as problems to be solved, but as guests to be welcomed and released? You breathe deeply, feeling the salt-tinged air fill your lungs and the calm wash over your spirit. The net, now cast and resting in the water, holds promise not of control, but of harmony. You sense that your own mind can become like this net, flexible, patient, and clear, ready to engage life with presence rather than resistance. The sun sets behind the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and violet. The sea glows softly under the fading light, a mirror of peaceful awareness. With the fisherman's steady example in your heart, you take a deep breath and step forward into the unfolding mystery of your own mind, patient, gentle, and awake. Section 6. The Empty Net. Embracing emptiness as a space for peace and renewal. The evening breeze carries the coolness of the sea as you walk beside the fisherman, his net now resting lightly on his shoulder. The sky above darkens into a deep indigo scattered with the first stars of night. The sound of waves gently lapping against the shore blends with the soft rustling of palm leaves, creating a symphony of natural calm that invites your mind to settle further. You reflect on the fisherman's steady patience, how he moves not with haste, but with gentle intention, tending his net as one would care for a delicate instrument. This care is more than physical. It is a metaphor for the way we can nurture our own mental space, gently, patiently, and with kindness. The Buddha taught that the mind is like water. When disturbed, it becomes cloudy and unclear, but when left to settle, its true nature shines through. Clinging to thoughts or resisting emotions only stirs the water, deepening confusion and suffering. Let this teaching rest softly in your awareness. You take a slow, deliberate breath, feeling the fresh sea air fill your lungs and the tension ease from your shoulders. Your mind, like the water, begins to calm, clarity shimmering beneath the surface. There is a lesser-known Zen practice called net mindfulness, where practitioners visualize their thoughts as parts of a vast net, interconnected, but often tangled. The practice encourages gently tracing each thought thread, noticing where knots form, and patiently releasing them without judgment. Zen masters might ask, how often do you rush to fix your tangled thoughts, and what might change if you simply observed them with gentle curiosity? As you walk, you notice the soft glow of lanterns from nearby boats flickering like fireflies over the water's surface. Their lights guide the fisherman safely home, steady and unwavering despite the shifting sea. You imagine your own inner light, steady awareness shining through the tangled patterns of your mind. This light does not erase confusion, but gently illuminates it, inviting understanding and peace. The fisherman pauses to gaze out at the horizon, his eyes calm and thoughtful. His presence embodies a deep acceptance, a harmony with the unpredictability of the sea and life. You feel yourself anchored in this moment, carried by the steady rhythm of breath and the soothing sounds of night. The net, the sea, and your own awareness intertwine in a dance of patience and clarity. As stars multiply overhead, you realize that the tangled mind is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be embraced with open-hearted presence. With the fisherman's quiet wisdom guiding you, you step forward, carrying the grace of patience and the light of mindful clarity into every corner of your being. Section 7. Casting again, the gentle art of letting go and beginning anew. The night has settled fully now, and the stars above shine bright, scattered like countless jewels across the velvet sky. The fisherman's lantern casts a warm, steady glow, its light dancing softly on the dark waters and the sand beneath your feet. You walk alongside him in quiet companionship, your steps slow and mindful, each one carrying the calm that has blossomed within you. The fisherman lifts his net once more this time, casting it wide across the shimmering surface of the sea. The net spreads like a delicate web floating on the water, ready to embrace whatever the ocean offers. Watching the net glide smoothly and naturally, you sense a powerful metaphor unfolding about openness, readiness, and gentle receptivity. The Buddha taught that the mind should be like this net, open and accepting, ready to hold what life brings without grasping or aversion. This openness is the path to inner peace, freeing you from the struggles of control and resistance. You take a deep breath, feeling the cool night air fill your lungs and the peace deepen in your chest. Thoughts may still drift by, but you notice them without judgment, like leaves floating on a stream, present but not permanent. Some Zen practitioners meditate on the image of the fisherman's net to cultivate spacious awareness. The net's threads symbolize the connections and entanglements of the mind. By holding the image, they practice loosening their grip on thoughts and emotions, allowing the mind to relax and expand. Zen masters might ask, what would it be like to let your mind be this net, holding life gently, flexibly, and with open-hearted presence? You watch as the fisherman carefully pulls the net back toward the shore. The net holds not only fish, but also seaweed and small treasures caught along the way. He sorts patiently, releasing what is no longer needed and keeping what nourishes. This act of sorting reminds you that mindfulness includes discerning what to hold on to and what to let go. Not every thought or feeling requires attention. Some are best released with kindness. The sea's gentle rhythm, the lantern's soft glow, and the fisherman's steady work weave together into a tapestry of calm awareness. You feel your own inner net becoming lighter, more flexible, ready to embrace life's unfolding with grace. As the night deepens, you sense a quiet joy, a simple, profound peace that comes from being present with the tangled and the clear, the struggle and the surrender. The fisherman smiles softly, his eyes reflecting the stars above. His journey and yours are intertwined, each casting and gathering with patient care. You walk on carrying this calm, this clarity, this gentle strength into the unfolding mystery of your life. Section 8. The Unseen Catch. Finding the deeper wisdom hidden beneath surface thoughts. The night sky deepens, the stars growing brighter as the fisherman and you walk along the shore. The ocean stretches endlessly before you, a vast mirror reflecting the infinite cosmos above. The soft sound of the waves mingles with the quiet rustle of night breezes moving through the grasses and sand dunes. This moment feels timeless, a meeting place of earth, sea, and sky. You pause to gaze at the fisherman's net, now neatly coiled beside a lantern, flickering gently against the dark. The net, once tangled and knotted, has been patiently restored to its graceful form. It rests quietly, a symbol of clarity, born through care, patience, and steady attention. The Buddha taught that peace comes not by avoiding life's tangled moments, but by learning to meet them with calm awareness and compassion. Let this wisdom settle deeply within you now. You breathe in the cool, salty air, feeling it fill your lungs and expand your chest. With each exhale, tension and confusion begin to dissolve, carried away like leaves floating downstream. There is a subtle beauty in the practice of tending the net, not forcing clarity, but gently coaxing it from the knots of thought and emotion. Like the fisherman, you learn to work with patience, kindness, and respect for the delicate balance within your mind. Some monks practice net meditation, visualizing their mind as a vast, interconnected net, sometimes tangled, sometimes clear, and developing a gentle curiosity toward its shifting patterns. This practice cultivates spaciousness and insight, allowing clarity to arise naturally. Zen masters might ask, when your mind feels tangled, can you turn toward it with kindness rather than frustration? What happens when you treat your thoughts as you would a fragile net needing care? You feel the deepening peace of this approach, a relaxation that does not avoid difficulty, but embraces it with gentle courage. The lantern's flame flickers softly, illuminating the path ahead, but also casting long shadows. This light and shadow interplay reminds you that clarity often arises in the presence of uncertainty, and wisdom grows from embracing both. You stand beside the fisherman as he gathers his net, feeling connected to this ancient rhythm of care and awareness. The sea, the stars, the net, and your breath all join in a dance of presence. As you prepare to leave the shore, you carry with you the lesson of the fisherman's net. Clarity comes not from struggle or control, but from patient attention, gentle care, and openness. The tangled mind, when met with kindness, reveals its natural clarity and peace. And so with a calm heart and steady breath, you step forward into the unfolding journey of life, mindful, aware, and free.